Pounders. Welcome back. Today, we bring on Tyler from the Fantasy Sanctuary. Second time on the show. He's got the chest hair out for everybody. You got to pay extra for that, is what he told me. But we're getting it for free right now. So we're going to dip into some running back landscape stuff before we rip a BBM draft. Tyler, how's it going? How have the drafts been? The 10-second, 15-second clocks, all that.
It's been good, man. The drafts have been fun. The fast clocks, my ADHD brain is loving it. I'm getting to crank out 2 drafts in the span of one. I feel like a kid in a candy shop. It's been great. It's been a little chaotic, but it's been fun.
Yeah, for sure. And we did, obviously, our last stream was 20 of the 10-second clocks all at once, and I couldn't even jump into the team to see who I had. I just had to draft from that previous window where you could only basically see your roster construction.
Yeah,
that was quite a process. But after that, are you autoing any of these with ranks or just to get numbers up, or are you in these rooms the whole time?
It's definitely a thought I've had. It probably one way to make your drafts a little bit cleaner with any sort of time overlays, like your ranks. And I actually have cleared the ranks out probably the last month of drafts. I was drafting off my ranks, and then I cleared it out just to do ADP, especially when I was doing these BBMs and the non-time box contests, so that I tried to be mindful of CLV potentially. I didn't want to have blind spots of that. And every once in a while, if someone fell far enough because of CLV,
Right,
having a little bit of humility to take them, not very often, mind you, but every once in a while. Because in my ranks, I legit remove players that I'm I don't want any of these players. I don't care where they go. But as we get closer to the season, a little bit more information, I have to be mindful of how that works out. And so that's what I've done so far. But I'm definitely having the thought of, with these fast clocks, put my ranks in, kind of just burn and churn and go with God, especially because it seems like every third draft is oh my God, either receivers or running backs are falling, but 2/3 of the time it feels like it's pretty damn close to ADP because people are too scared to mess up, or it's just autos.
Yeah. There's I think there's a lot of ADP drafters in those rooms, or people just being spazzes. And a lot of people making mistakes. We mentioned, we were talking before, there's a little lag, especially when you're trying to star players.
Yeah.
And it happened to me a couple times on the live stream where that one was close. We're gonna have to check the replay. That one was close. I knew right away.
Yeah.
Maybe they just got rid of that slight delay there was on the clock.
I mean, it was a slight delay for me today. Yesterday, when I was on stream doing those, I had 5-second clocks. So it was a major delay, and I'm wired in when I'm streaming. So it's there's no reason that there should be this much lag. But it wasn't too bad until I was reading chat just fine. But then the second someone was a real question of what's your take on this backfield, or what do you think? And I'm oh, a thoughtful answer. I'm oh, I just autoed naked Gino. Fantastic.
Yeah, you just destroyed my brain. But hellos to everyone in the chat. Thank you guys for coming out. Drop a like if you guys enjoy the content. Hit the subscribe button. We're going to be doing a 24-hour live stream with 2K subs. Follow Tyler at the Fantasy Sanctuary. Link is in the description of the video. Now,
speaking of likes, Pat, not to cut you off, but I do love doing that. Your folks got your video last time I was on to the likes afterwards. Man of my word, we got the cowboy hat because y'all got it to the likes last time around. So the promises are being kept.
The white is fresh, guaranteed. He washed his hands before he touched the hat. The hands are clean. There are no fingerprints on that thing. Surprised he didn't have gloves on. And here comes the crack.
There we go, BB.
Clean. I got the second one right next to me. I might have started without you guys. I'm sorry. But running back landscape for BBM, how's this been affecting your draft strategy, your roster construction? What feels like the value pockets to you? Who are the fades? I mean, we can go right down the list.
I mean, yeah. So fade wise for me, I mean, so full disclosure here, these are probably going to sound pretty spicy, but disclaimer is that I'm doing a lot of hero and zero RB this early on. I just feel to not fall behind too much early with all these expensive wide receiver prices, and then having some really suppressed running back cost for pockets of guys. I fully expect some of these big names to rise up all the way through the draft,
Devin
multiple
Singletary,
rounds,
big
multiple
name.
picks. So it's like at this point, I have pockets I like to hit. So I'm really enjoying getting 2, 3, 4 receivers in the first 3, 4, 5 rounds. So
Yep.
some of these fades are just structural, and then some of them are intentional. So like I don't have a lot of JT, I don't have a lot of Saquon. Both guys, like, those feel like names. They don't feel like I'm not scared of them burying me, considering the opportunity cost and then who they've looked like in recent history. Saquon, you've got Hurts potentially stealing rushing yards and, most importantly, rushing touchdowns. Also, like, pass catching, him being able to have like 30 touches and like 10 catches is the thing that's like buoyed him and kept him really succeeding when the touchdowns or the efficiency haven't been there. I don't know how much pass catching he's going to get, yada yada. JT, similar thing of AR, targets, touchdowns, and also he just didn't look the same guy. But with JT, I am having to say, the fantasy docs have told me that, he started to look physically more like himself. So I'm being open to drafting him more often, but at the same time, just the price is tough. So those two are like the early fades. I don't have a lot of ETN, and that's, when you get that much coach speak about not getting all the work and you're talking up a guy that stinks, you have to be worried that like they'll make a trade, they'll make a signing because Tank does stink. But when he falls into the 5th, or any of these guys fall into the 3rd or whatever, I'm mixing them in, because if I'm gonna take a guy I'm fading, I'm gonna take him at the best price with the best roster I can take in that time. And then pretty much all the other running backs, like through the first 8 rounds, I'm pretty light on. Outside of maybe like,
how about this range from Josh Jacobs to let's say Rashad White. Let's start there.
Yeah, so Jacobs, same thing. Like, I don't like the cost. I'm mostly getting him when he falls like 10 picks past ADP. So I've got a little bit of him. James Cook, mostly a stat guy. He's been falling every once in a while to like the 67, 69 range. So I'll take him there. The guy I'm the most heavy on is Mixon. I have 17% Mixon.
I'm there with you. I think it has to do with the wide receivers that go in that range, though.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel like there's like a mini tier break.
Yeah, I'm there with you.
Plus, if I'm taking the Houston Baltimore, I'm just going to correlate.
Yeah. You're seeing Rice. He's going to creep up to this range potentially if he doesn't get any more negative news. It's funny, like you mentioned, like, oh yeah, we're getting more news, but there's also the other side of it where it's like the lack of news, and people are just start to think like, oh, like, what if, like, what if his situation changed? And then there's like the reverse panic off of not getting news. So that's funny. I'm there.
Well, you're kind of seeing that with like Roman Wilson. People are reverse panicking on Roman Wilson not getting a lot of news.
Right. So. Yeah, definitely. I think there's been a little bit of camp news that's been negative, that he hasn't been able to make an impact in practice basically just yet.
Yeah, the fun note on Roman Wilson, and this is like super in the weeds. I was talking with Zach Kruger of Roto World, and we both kind of like, we were like, this is weird. Like, it's weird to not get this much stuff. And we were trying to think, like, why would they do that? And we were like, is it an organizational thing? Is it like a motivation thing? And I was like, that doesn't make it. I was like, this might be like an organizational cultural thing. Did they do this with Pickens? Similar type of draft capital. And we look back, and like, no tweets, barely any news about him coming out till like right up until the start of the season. And he was fine. It was just like the beats and the teams just don't really, and maybe that's how they manage wide receivers. Like, we're gonna try to manage the diva shit by like, you get nothing and you got to earn it like that. And that makes sense. Tomlin's a little bit of a hardo as much as he is like a player coach. So this feels pretty consistent with the Pickens thing. So I'm not overreacting in that regard, but not hearing anything exciting about him, coupled with an Arthur Smith offense that has told us we're going to run the hell out of the ball. That's the more macro concerning thing than anything.
It's funny that we're like not trusting Pittsburgh, who has historically just smashed undrafting receivers, but we'll just willingly draft Carolina guys in like the 120 to 130 range. So my Roman bag's pretty thick right now. Someone's got to catch the ball. It's like the old Korean saying, like, someone's got to catch the ball.
Yeah. And then same thing with like Rashad and Ken Walker. Like, those guys I'm not taking unless they fall pretty late, or
Same.
they're correlating, and then like the tier, because at some point I'm not chasing receivers. Like I'm like
Mhm.
the price. We learned this last year. Like the wide receiver cliff, you don't. It's the cliff is fake. The cliff is much earlier than you think, and
Oh
so
God,
you're
yeah.
you're probably running off the cliff with the
Especially
worst
this year.
pick, right? So those flimsier guys, I'm just letting go. If they fall around, then cool, mix them in, whatever.
Mhm.
So like, yeah, the running backs I typically have, I'm mixing in once that tier is gone. But
Mhm.
there are times where I'm taking the tight ends, like Evan Ingram falling or whatever, or maybe a wide receiver falls, or I get to stack up Kyler Murray or Love or Burrow. And so I'm light on a lot of those running backs just because I am targeting wide receiver, quarterback, tight end stacks. And then knowing that once I've got that core filled out, now I'm going to go chase the falling running backs
Mhm.
or the stacking running backs or the pocket that I like with like B Rob and Marshawn Lloyd and Ty Chandler and guys like that. Just
Mhm.
from a construction standpoint.
That's I'm right there with you. I'm building a lot of personally. I'm building a lot of hero running back builds, more than
Mhm.
zero running back builds, but I do want to mix in more zero because I think that range of like Devin Singletary, B Rob could be your first two running backs if you're double clicking in that range. Be curious
They're
what you
and they're
think.
and for me they often are. And you get like
Got it.
Javante falling now. Spears is coming up a little bit, but Pollard's falling a little bit. So they're pretty much going like side by side. So like, yeah, that whole pocket's very, very rich.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's the thing with like Rashad White is like there's concern, but like he's legitimately a good pass catcher. I think if you're gonna nitpick the profile, it's more of just if this offense kind of regresses and takes a step back a bit because you don't have Canales, calling things, and what if the old heads that were there kind of mucking up the run pass efficiency and rates
Mhm.
return, but at the same time, like they're still gonna have to like play to catch up, and that in that world, like if they're playing slow and they're falling behind because this isn't like an elite defense or anything.
Mhm.
Well then, Baker chucking it to Evans, Godwin, and White still gets us there at that point. So
And
yeah,
how much do you think Bucky's going to eat into that role as well? Like if you're not taking a lot of Rashad, are you on the back end maybe
oh yeah,
drafting more
yeah.
Bucky?
As
Okay.
Rashad was kind of like that 5-6 turn pick, I was loading up on Bucky, and now I'm kind of like evening out which one I mix in.
Mhm.
Because I want to be cognizant of the coach speak, and the coach speak about Rashad's been really positive about like him adjusting to their system and what they asked him to do,
Mhm.
and the coach speak's been fine to neutral on Bucky. So like I like both guys. I think both guys can pay off ADP given the right things. I
Mhm.
like Rashad a little bit cheaper once that tier is gone.
And he falls. He
Um,
falls.
and
He
he
falls
falls.
all the time,
So
and
yeah,
especially in my rooms, like I get a good amount of Rashad because I'm getting him around pick
Rashad.
70. Rashid might have to be if he plays like that this year. Mixed in the last name with the first.
Yeah.
K Walk is someone that I actually didn't think I was at 7%. So it is nice to have the exposures up here and then be
Yeah.
able to set it just to BBM. But yeah, slamming wide receiver in this range typically
Yeah.
good amount of Demont.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm very light on Kamara. Like that age plus that potential cliff. I mean, he gets there by being a PPR scam, but even that was looking pretty thin because he
hmm
hit negative yardage twice despite multiple catches, and that's never a good sign. The only thing is like the run game and the offense as a whole could be more efficient under this, new motion heavy system.
Right. They could
That's
find a better
nice.
role for him that's a little more
Yeah.
efficient, make him, yeah, give him more room.
That's how he pays off. Is like he pays off if and Nick Underhill's basically said that like the coaching staff last year and this year they like Kendra. They want Kendra to be the guy. Kendra has kind of disappointed them with health and with like consistency, and apparently he's been working behind Jamal. And this is very early, so this could very well easily be like busting the guy's balls, make him earn it. But like he's definitely not like taken that step yet that the coaching staff wants, and now Kamara's holding out. And so it really
I
does come
know.
down to
I
like
know.
if
It's
Kendry has a good camp, they force feed
Kamara's
that to Kamara for the contract, and Kendry gets more work. And if Kendry has a bad camp, they gotta give Kamara what he wants because they're tied to this whole sinking ship salary cap hell. And Kamara potentially hits, and then you're just worried about price. So like that's kind of where we're at pending this camp.
yeah. And I do think like Kamara, sometimes he'll fall to like 85, 86, and that's
Yeah,
where I'm sort of like, I'll get a little sprinkle in there.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
he's playing football this year. He wants the extension,
Yeah.
and he's the second highest paid running back, something ridiculous. He's in the top paid running backs right now. So he wants
Yeah.
that extension because I believe he can be dropped next year, and that's likely what they're
Then
looking to do.
next year's out is definitely there. I think the main concern with him, if you want to like from a BBM standpoint, is like, is this a guy if Kendra's getting more work and 29 going on 30-year-old Kamara is having like a similar kind of efficiency cliff and they're already rotating him out to start the season, what does that look like in the playoffs? Is he getting you enough work to even matter in your lineup? And that's more of a, a concern, long term, and a reason why I'm not really scared about full fading him, even if he ends up being the workhorse early, is like, what's their incentive to do that if they don't give him that contract and that like handshake, we're going to work you out like that, because they were smart enough not to give Jamal that work despite the contract last year, even despite the early injury.
I like it. I'm there with you with the Alvin fade. Looking towards the playoffs as well, I think is very smart, and you should be doing that for all of your picks. It's like, what is this player's outlook for the fantasy football playoffs, where all the goddamn money is?
Yeah.
Aaron Jones, Stevenson, Najee, Brooks, Zamir White. How would you rank this group in this range? Are you mixing in any of these guys? Is this where you're starting to dip in your zero RB world?
I'm not taking a ton of Ramondre just because, the O-line is definitely still an open wound issue for this team. And Gibson was given a decent amount of change and kind of profiles as a pass catching back too. And I feel like Ramondre is a great pick if he's getting, like 60 to 70% of the work. And a lot of that's on like passing downs and goal line. My concern is like, I don't know if he's like, he should get the goal line work with the size, but Gibson's not small. So there's ambiguity, and in an offense that's not going to be very good, he'll be fine, but it's still very questionable. And has every reason to be questionable based on the last 3 years and based on who's there.
Now
I'm going to just take the cheaper guy.
Push back on it because I do think there's way too many fumbling issues in Gibson's past to be like a reliable goal line guy week to week. So I am drafting Stevenson. That role is safe for him. Now that could be wrong. Like he might underperform. The offense might underperform, which might not pay out this ADP, and he could have the red zone role, and it won't matter. But I do like Gibson as well. Where I'm at 20% Gibson, so I'm there with you on Gibson. But
I will say like getting that contract is a good thing. They do just kind of pay whoever. So my like slight fade on Ramondre is simply because I can poke a lot of holes in that, and I am in favor of chasing like the guaranteed shitload of touches and efficiency and Najee and Warren and that exciting youth workhorse back in Brooks. And those are just the guys. And then if those guys go, I feel really good about Connor and Connor's talent and Connor's efficiency and that offense improving. Like those are just guys I easily and I usually stack up with those two. So like if I'm doing the New England stuff, Ramondre is kind of like my mix him in, especially if I took ladder or whatever. But like, I just prefer the Pittsburgh guys and potentially Connor at that point. And I think I expect names like that to rise up, like Ramondre, Najee, and Connor and Zach Moss with the casual crowd. I expect those guys to rise up. And then that's the other reason why I'm like, if Price starts shifting these guys around, that'll shift my exposures later on in the summer, where I do a lot more of my heavy BBM volume since I'm famously only doing 69 Bestball Mania drafts.
Let's go. Until one gets canceled, then you're depressed for the whole season.
I mean, if they do that, that's their fault, and I did my best.
So I'm largely with you with 20% Najee, 9% Stevenson, but I am leveraging the Warren take. I think if Najee's going to hit, I think he needs to be the guy. That's not to say that Warren's going to be mixed in, and I know that. But
I think so. The Warren. So for me, the Warren thing is like I take them both pretty equally. I do try to like if they're both available with my builds, I do try to mix and match instead of heavily Warren just to differentiate myself from. We talked about like 50% of the finals last year were like the super sharp crowd. So how do I differentiate myself a little bit from that 50% sharp crowd at the very top? and
Double
that's
tap
probably like
Pittsburgh.
swapping players every now and then. The thing with Jaylen Warren is he was more efficient as a rusher and as a pass catcher. And if we expect just a lot of volume in this offense, they can both hit, with Najee getting more of the volume, especially at the goal line, but Warren just being the more efficient target earner and explosive back. Like, and we saw it last year. Like they both had multiple spike weeks, even in the same week, and they probably get even more volume this year. And the offense is probably a little bit better considering the quarterbacks are going to be a huge upgrade.
They're gonna
Yeah.
run the ball like
Yeah.
a shit ton. Like everyone's trying to see who like their wide receiver 2 is in the offense, and I largely like Roman Wilson, but like that just says they're gonna run the ball a lot.
Yeah.
Probably running back Russ's best friend as well. But
I mean, we've seen that. He targets the hell out of running backs, and that's what Warren does really well too. Najee not as good as a pass catcher, so that's his out too. Is like if Jalen gets like 4 targets
he
and
lost weight. He lost weight. Now he's got a little wiggle now. He's a little skinnier. You can get in those small. No, I'm trying to sell it. It's bad. I'm there with you. I like both of the guys. I will probably mix in more Jaylen Warren, but
I think Warren ends up being the guy that's less likely to rise with the casual crowd, so you'll probably end up getting that mix anyway. Warren's probably not going to move up a whole lot because people will look at that and be like, oh, well, Najee's the bigger guy and he's the name I recognize and yada, yada, yada. Like you have to expect that sort of thing. I think Moss, Najee, those recognizable projected points guys probably rise up. And then, the more questionable guys will fall with the casual crowd, but also like rankings and stuff like that'll happen. And, you'll see that natural shift, I think.
You could tell for me based on my exposures, like this is where I'm tapping into my 0 RB teams. Last year it was Warren. I think this year it's around the same ADP, but you're getting guys with more expected touches, and that's where it's so nice to go 3 receivers minimum, in my opinion, through 5 rounds this year. If you want to make a detour tight end or QB, like that's fine. If you want to add a running back in there, that's fine as well. I'm doing a lot of that hero RB stuff, but clicking and mixing in these guys in this range, it's
easy. I'm doing it a lot.
I'm mixing matching, but I largely I like Ferguson, like I like Ingram, like you said. I think Dak is too cheap at his ADP, so mixing in Dak. Burrow I think is ridiculously cheap. And I still have to mix in the Kyler shares, probably because of my I'm under on Marv right now, so you're seeing that correlate with Kyler. But this range, who's your favorite between Zamir, Swift, and Moss and Mostert and Tony Pollard?
I love that you gave me 5 names of guys I do not like.
Let's go. That's what we asked, the tough questions.
Yeah. This is a gross range. I'm the lowest on Swift. It's for me. It's probably Pollard, Mostert. I like Moss and Zamir. I'm having a tough time with Zamir because he feels like the classic trap back. Because like the projectable touches feels very fragile because you have to assume that the team is going to just give him the ball 20 times a game, regardless of game script, which I think happens the first few games. I don't know how often that's happening when they're like 3 and 5. They added Bowers.
3 and 5's generous.
Yeah, you're right. When they're 2 and 7, I don't know that they're just going to keep banging Zamir into the line 20 times. I will say it seems like their O-line is pretty solid. I think the defense, the defense is the total question mark. They think they can run the ball 20 plus times a game, play good defense, and guess what? We know that's very non-sticky and very varied. And that's going to be based on personnel fit and health and all that other good stuff. And they've kind of talked about how like Zamir is like 20 rushes a game, not necessarily pass catching a game. So this feels like the classic dead zone. The problem is he's priced not in the dead zone. So I'm struggling with that personally.
Right. Like, this is like the classic dead zone, but you're getting these guys that are still like projected starters. It's like,
and so at this point, that's why I'm taking the guys that have like the paths to true workhorse, non-game script dependent guys. I think Swift is in a sneaky, still 3-headed running back committee, and we've seen all the coach speak say we're going to run the hot hand. Roshan is kind of our pass catching guy. So I'm just not. I'm easily fading Swift. I'm Zamir curious. Mostert is old as fuck. And so I have a hard time. But so the thing is, all these guys fall. And so the only guy I'm really having to take at ADP usually is Moss. And the rest of those guys I'm getting at like 103 to 106. And I'm feeling fine about it.
How about
Yeah,
James Conner? If you mix a
I
James
love James
Conner
Conner.
into this group, okay, are
I
you just
101 of this group easily.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think, and for multiple factors, he's the only guy here that is likely to see 85+% week in and week out of his work. The back behind him was never a workhorse back in college. He's more of a change of pace guy, and he's already beat out a guy like that.
It's Tony
in
Pollard?
this offense. Yeah, exactly. So like, oh, is he Tony Pollard? Is he Chase Edmonds? We don't know. Like his draft capital was fine.
Right.
His profile was fine. Like this wasn't like a smash pick guy. The coaching staff loves him. The quarterback loves him. And he was legit good. Like the only
I think he's
reason
going to be a good number 2 there. I really do. I like Benson, but I think he's expensive for where he goes.
I agree with that wholly. Like there's no reason for Trey to be priced like that outside of just
zero
like,
Benson.
Yeah.
With 35% Singletary.
I'm taking Benson whenever like he stacks, the guys are off the board I don't like, or he's fallen like about 10 picks, and it's like, sure.
He is falling behind these guys, and he's getting into a more reasonable range, and you're going to see B-Rob pass him. You're going to see Singletary pass him. So when they do, I will then grab my Trey Benson shares because this contest is open for so long. When this is completely revolved the conversation around BBM in the landscape, and maybe getting these guys at just a little better price than everyone else. And that small advantage, if you're consistently doing that, I largely think you're making plus EV lineups, and that's what I like to focus on.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I'm mixing in this group when they fall. That's why I'm basically underfield on most of them.
Yeah, because I'm taking I much prefer B-Rob, Singletary, and Spears to this cohort. So I'll take them when they fall and when it stacks.
Give me the combo of like Ferguson plus B-Rob over whoever. I mean, maybe
Swift and
range.
Swift and Schultz or something.
Swift and Goddard.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I'm
like
God.
It's easy. It's easy for me.
Same. I think I had 30% B-Rob last week or something. It's a lot.
And so the reason I've realized it's my pick bias, it's actually my bye week bro bias. The bye week 11 just fits so much better with my builds that I'm able to mix in Singletary more. But I also wanted.
It's because you don't see the vision, brother. You don't see Jaden Daniels, our little RPO handoff to B-Rob as he just sprints down the field, 80-yard touchdown. You don't see the vision of James Conner 2 years ago just getting smashed into the end zone time after time after time by Cliff Kingsbury because he's going to run so many red zone rushes. And I think B-Rob is that guy at least late in the season.
But Singletary's been the bigger riser. So focusing the guy for me that is rising at a faster rate. And when he came from the 120s and now he's down to 111, and where I have him ranked too, both of these guys are above at least Benson, and for the price I would probably like them better than TP. But yeah, I like B-Rob too. I do agree. Like I am not, my confidence rate isn't 22% higher on Singletary over B-Rob, but
my confidence rate on the quality of the offense and the pace of play is, though, and that's what leads me to one of Brian Robinson or Eckler as he's falling now. He's at worst a contingent bet, and at best I was wrong about Eckler, but all of my Eckler teams are with him with 140, 150 with 2 or 3 additional players, whereas all of his fans have him much higher. So like the pace of, we should expect this to be an up tempo top 10 pace of play offense. Jaden looks like a really quality passer. His scrambling ability, his scoring ability. Like I just think these two offenses, like Washington has a much better shot of being a top 12 offense from pace of play and scoring than the Giants do. And I think Singletary's outs are like being kind of like a pass catching funnel with a guy who's hobbled for at least the first 2 to 4 weeks. And then some. The Tracy mix-in pass guy thing is my only kind of worry, that if Dayball decides he wants to do this like split backfield thing, but I think Dayball loves Singletary.
Tracy's so unproven, even in college. That's
where it's like it's a concern.
I prefer Singletary's, competition behind him versus B-Rob. I know Eckler,
and I think that's right.
He's dust.
I think that's right.
He might he might take some red zone touches away where you're already having red zone touches go to Jaden Daniels. That's what worries me a little bit. I'm not
I
as
think
confident.
I think he might take the 2-minute stuff. I don't think
Yeah.
he's a
Oh,
threat
for
outside
sure.
of that.
I agree with
But
that.
those are high value
And,
touches.
and I also don't think Daniel Jones. I don't think you're going to see him run as much this year, which between the neck injury, the knee,
Can I shit on
and
him for like just a hot second?
yeah, why not?
He didn't seem to understand how bad his O-line was last year and to get rid of the ball quickly instead of just 8 sack after sack after sack. So I don't know if he's smart enough to understand not to run. I think he's going to run plenty. I think it's going to be really poor running for a lot of
Dude,
sacks.
he did an interview like 45 days, like a month and a half ago, and he looked concussed. Like he looked like he had a concussion. The words weren't making sense.
He had
It
a neck
wasn't.
injury. People forget.
It wasn't good. How about this range? I need my quorum to be at probably like 12%. So at 0, being able to see this is very important to me because this does not correlate with my take on Kyron and quorum. So getting those
Yeah, I
guys
will
up is going
say
to
if you're
matter.
low on Kyron, you have to be higher on Quorum. Like that was my lesson learned last year of like that was the lever that led me to Kyron. I was very low on Akers. I didn't believe in
Mhm.
Akers. I bought all of the coach speak 2 years in a row about loving Kyron. And I decided at that price, at worst, he's the pass catching guy, but
Right.
I'd rather chase that than that. And so I learned this. So with fading Chubb, I have a shit ton of Foreman and Ford. And so, yeah, if you're going to pull a lever against a fade, you need to
Mhm.
exploit that to the fullest. You have to take the other guy. The price I don't love in a vacuum for a guy that's probably likely to see 10 to 15% of work on a good day. And his true value is truly contingent because I just
Mhm.
don't see this being with a healthy Kyron. I don't think that a common sense having person without any bias says that he's flipping Kyron to be the 70% guy. I
Mhm.
just don't think that's likely at all. That's not how McVay's done anything. That's not how he's talked about
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
And Corum coming out of college, not as good of a prospect as he was before the ACL. And I think
I
people
think
do not
30%
understand that.
quorum still hurts Kyron at price. If he can
Sure,
keep
I don't think
him,
that helps Corum at this price though. I
I
don't know.
agree. I
Yeah.
agree. There's a couple people I probably want over him. I'm curious how you would rank this tier, and maybe even if we got rid of Tajay Spears, if you think that's just a clear and obvious 101 over these guys.
I think he's an I think people understand he's a 50-50 split backfield guy, which these guys aren't.
How would you rank this group here? We can add
Yeah,
some dust in there
I
here.
think that's the right tier. Well, like projected touches, it's Gus, but Gus feels like a old Zamir bet to me. So I don't have a lot of Gus because
17-point ceiling,
yeah,
2
I mean, like
touchdowns, 50 yards.
he's he is a target if I have started with like Jonathan Brooks
Okay.
and Tajay Spears.
Padding him with padding
Pad,
players are going to start
padding, and you
later
hope
with guaranteed
maybe,
touches.
yeah, maybe just like he is a guy that can get just a shitload of red zone work and a rush heavy offense. If it
Mhm.
happens late in the season, awesome. But yeah, like I view him as an on ramp, and
Yeah.
that was
You're not
wrong with
drafting him as your upside piece in the offense. You
no,
don't
not
need
at all.
he's not
Yeah,
your RB4 on a team.
I don't have him. Yeah, exactly. If I
So
need
it's
a third or fourth running back that doesn't need like a little bit of padding at this stage in the season, I'm just not taking Gus. I'm probably taking
I agree with
Chase.
that.
I'm probably taking Ford. Zeke falls enough that I'd rather have him where he's basically with Rico, and then I think
Mhm.
he's probably the favorite to get more of the red zone work, even if he's not as talented, because we've seen the Cowboys be the Cowboys. Like they didn't give Pollard more work than Zeke in the red zone for years, and that might have been right. Fractured leg. Let's not forget he broke his leg in
Yeah.
half. But and that's probably the reason why I'm higher on Spears because I think red zone wise, like the Titans feel like a team that goes, we want to score points. We're all new here. Let's get the guy that has a little bit of juice in the red zone. So yeah, it's probably like Ford, Brown, Zeke, Eckler, Corum, Gus for me. If I had to like run off the
Ford,
cuff, whatever. But
Brown, Zeke,
I'm
Corum.
taking guys like correlated and stacked, and that's how I'm
Yep.
because I'm not very high on
Yep.
Chase, but I understand he at this price, if he gets 40 to 50% of work in this backfield, it's
Mhm.
very, very good for a spike.
Mhm.
I think he's the shakiest just because like his draft capital and his talent look
Mhm.
dubious. And we've
Mhm.
just decided he's the guy, but I think
And
he's the
and
likeliest to
by
get
end of
hit.
season, if you're projecting Chubb to be back, you probably don't want him again on the same style team that you wouldn't want Gus on. You think at least I think Jerome's gonna hit his nut early in the season. That's where you're gonna get the most production from him.
So I'm a Ford bull, and I will say that like
Okay.
outside of Chubb, there is this Kareem Hunt role that exists in a Stefanski backfield,
Mm-hmm.
and that they've been very like they've never given Chubb all of the work. They refuse, and they
Mm-hmm.
really like Ford. They talked up Ford. Ford, lest we forget, started the season with like a high ankle sprain that landed him on the IR. So like he had the season he had coming off of an ankle sprain that does sap your juice. Ask Austin Eckler for at least 4 to 6 weeks following that. Um, so like, and I love that the chat's getting spicy tonight. That's what we do on a Saturday.
Yeah,
We're,
you
we're
gotta, you
drinking
gotta.
beers from a football laces out koozie. But so like, I think Ford at worst has the pass catching role in
Yeah,
that offense because it's
I feel like
not
you're
Chubb.
paying. I feel like you're paying for like old school Kareem Hunt ADP though at 127. Like
You are,
it,
but let me
it's kind of
paint
expensive.
the picture though. That said, what happens if he's got a little bit more juice with not an ankle sprain with a full season of camp, year 2 as the guy? He's getting more reps
Chubb
with
gets
Chubb.
re-injured or
Well,
whatever it may
Chubb,
be,
I will
lost
say
a step,
Chubb's
injury
re-injury
affects
risk
him.
is decently high.
Definitely.
His range of outcomes is very wide, and it's very likely he's slow to ramp up for like half the season, if not more, depending on if it was a repair versus a reconstruction. This is a Ken Dorsey offense that's going to run a lot more empty, like what Watson used to run in Houston. That puts Jerome Ford on the field more, I think, in those situations as the pass guy. And we see that, like the running back targets in the red zone and in general are there. And what if this
But
defense regresses a bit? What if Watson is
are
still
they going
kind
to
of
go down
bad?
though without Joe Flax there, and you're getting Deshaun Watson, who's probably not historically a check down type guy?
And my my
It's
my
going to
point stands at like here's the thing. This is a team that so here's my gal brain, right? I think we're thinking late season.
yeah,
And
yep.
at that point, late season is I'm pretty low on Watson. Like he should be fine coming off a shoulder injury, but like it's a throwing shoulder injury.
Mm-hmm.
He's had a lot of injuries last year. He's not looked anywhere close to the guy he was. That guy is probably very far gone.
Oh,
I think
he's gone.
Ken
He's
Dorsey
gone.
brings a higher pass rate, an empty like pass heavy mindset with Stefanski's like running stuff. So I think the offense can be efficient. And I think if Watson's not looking good, like he was kind of sitting last year, like hurt, not really, whatever. He's got guaranteed money. There's no reason for him to push it. They have chuck it deep, YOLO ball, Uncle Rico Winston backing up. This is a playoff team. They have to make the playoffs. They
You can
have
only
to
pray.
compete. So like I'm just thinking like week 15 through week 17, it's very likely like Watson's played poorly. They give him the excuse of like he tweaked his arm, he's gonna sit, but like he's not playing because he's playing like shit. And Winston's just yellow balling it. I mean, that's the dream, right?
It it could happen. I have a similar dream for like no one's gonna like this one for the indie pass catchers. If Joe Flacco gets in there, I think that's where they actually hit their ceilings. Um,
I think they hit their ceilings from like a volume standpoint. I think AR as a deep passer is much more efficient than Flacco though, and I think people are underrating that
he
AR
has
with
the arm. I don't know if he has necessarily
his
the
college
accuracy.
accuracy from a rate standpoint was pretty accurate deep. Like on a per, he was one of the more accurate, more efficient deep passers. It was the short stuff that was tough for him, but also that was in like a really shitty offense. So I will note that
Yeah.
he was a good sack avoider and a great deep passer coming out of college. And now they have AD Mitchell and Josh Downs healthy as like potential big body, fast, deep guys, and
Mm-hmm.
Pittman being kind of like the intermediate route runner thing. And full healthy offseason in the system a second year in a row. They're talking about Jelani Woods being like an efficient seam guy. So I think you're gonna see this
Yeah.
offense trust AR to like hit this. I'm not buying it, but I'm saying like you hear this talk about like deep seams, deep seams. So and Flacco did kind of struggle, like, he's gonna chuck it a lot. That doesn't mean he's chucking it well. Um,
Yeah.
so I would argue the ceiling is either AR hits his deep passing ceiling as a much more efficient, deep and intermediate passer like he was in
Mm-hmm.
college with a full healthy offseason, with full healthy squad,
Mm-hmm.
including O-line, or it's Flacco just feeding a shitload of targets. And I'm good with either
I,
one. That's two
I,
outs.
I know, and I like that as a backup for those indie pass catchers as well.
Yeah.
Um, moving on to this next range of running backs: Sharbs, Miller, Rico, uh, Chubb or hashtag never Chubb, Marshawn Lloyd,
I was
and
never
Ty
Chubb
Chandler.
early. I'm Chubb curious now because, like I
Ooh,
said,
Chubb curious.
I'm trying to be very open to news on any player. And with Chubb, the new news, not just the clip of him, but like Jeff Mueller, one of the trusted docs I trust for like health stuff,
Mm.
was like, look, the reason why Adrian Peterson and Gronk, I know, returned early was because they got repairs, not full reconstructions, and that knocked off 2 months of expected
Right.
timeline return,
Yep.
and thus 2 months of ramp up and all that good stuff. And this, he's like, we don't know if it was a full reconstruction or a repair on this ACL, and based on this movement, this is pretty good movement laterally. This
Right.
is what we
Right.
want
Right.
to
Right.
see. The thing is, if it was a full reconstruction,
He didn't have
I'm
a knee. He didn't have a knee brace on either in that video.
Yeah, he didn't, which again, that wasn't something Jeff talked about, but like that is what I'm standing by on. And we might not know about that, but we might get signal and sign. And so I'm ready that if we get like pretty conclusive news based on either him, the team, or the doctors being like, what I'm seeing says he's way ahead.
Right.
And if we can say with 70% confidence it was not a reconstruction, then all of a sudden his timeline makes him valuable to chase at ADP when the tail outcome is super awesome athlete that has rehabbed very well and can has a potential to return to form late season. I will adjust. That said, we do have to keep in mind that like even if the good outcome happens, much like Brees, even if you're an awesome athlete and young, which Chubb is not, you see a dip in efficiency in rushing, which Brees did, and a need for ramping up. Even with all that, Chubb doesn't see a lot of pass catching. So like Price is still going to be very important, even if he ends up like
it's tough
getting
to
the
bump
tail
him.
outcome.
It's tough to bump him up to like 110. So like, what is that nuts outcome if you do have that very good news on Chubb?
Right.
I do think you're right in maybe mixing some in because he is a common faller in rooms where you can get him commonly in the 150s. I think right now I'm still probably drafting Ty Chandler ahead of him, but what are you doing with this group right now then?
I mean, I'm mostly sticking with stacking and correlating, but I got to say that like for the Seattle backs, it's way more ambiguous than the market has decided. We have no indication if how these running backs are going to be used, and that's why I have a lot more Charbonnet than I do Walker, is because we don't this. It's a new coaching staff at head coach and at OC, but the same staff with general manager. Well, that doesn't tell us anything because Walker and Charbonnet had the same draft capital and they have different abilities. And what if this ends up being more of a 50-50 backfield and Zach Charbonnet has a better like pass catching profile? So I think Charbonnet is a definite target. Rico, we've been told there's gonna be a split backfield. It's a valuable backfield. Mix him in. I'm concerned about his talent. Kendray's that like black box we talked about, that potential smash in ADP, potential second year disappointment. I'm gonna lightly sprinkle him in until I get more news because I have my highest exposed player bar none through 255 drafts right now is Marshawn Lloyd. I think he's the easiest click. He's a solid player. He got solid draft capital, and we've had nothing but constant news from the coach himself that runs the offense. This is going to be a like running back committee mix in, and Lloyd is impressing with his pass catching. He's impressing with his running, and his upside is that he's the Aaron Jones and Jacobs is the AJ Dillon, and that is in his range of outcomes. And I find that easy smash.
Oh damn! They're like, oh shit! Like we actually want an Aaron Jones style of runner
and pass catcher.
I
find Jacobs is just fine.
I find it very difficult if Jacobs doesn't get hurt for Lloyd to find that role. But
well, let me remind you and the fine folks that Jacobs' contract is extremely fake. Like it's a 1-year deal with the money up front, and then every other year tacked onto that is a team controlled option year.
Right.
And I think they knew that. They were like, we're gonna fill in with youth and with a do it all profile.
Someone
that's but we're not
probably a little healthier towards the end of the season where Aaron Jones was usually banged up, although he crushed in that San Fran playoff game.
Yeah.
I do like Lloyd. I'm not going to be under 8% on this player, but is there a sneaky even 15-20% role for a third running back in AJ Dillon? Even 15-20%, I think.
He
Hurts the
was
RB2 there.
he was one of the 3 worst rated running
Oh,
backs
he was
last year.
terrible.
And
He was
also
terrible.
his
Without a doubt.
contract equally fake. Like they used a rarely used rule to give him more than the vet minimum, but like none of it's truly like, but almost none of it shows up on the cap. Like it's like $1.5 million with upwards of 2 million, which is more than they would have given him, but it counts less against the cap than it would have in the vet minimum. It counts less against the cap than the vet minimum.
Right. That's pro.
This is a camp
That's
body.
pro.
This is a camp body and depth piece. This is we don't want Patrick Taylor to be our RB3 emergency like button, because we know AJ Dillon could at worst fill the role poorly, but fill the role. And you see that these backfields, that's something they want to have trust in, which is why they're like, even Philly like went and got, Will Shipley and stuff. Like you want guys that can fill the role, and you're not fucked if you're down to your third guy and your third guy is a joker, right? Like that's really what this comes down to.
Moving on to Ty Chandler, and this is someone that I've been trying to increase my shares of, but in my streams, which is when I'm
I have so much.
BM, he gets
so
sniped
much
all the damn time, and I want to be realistically, I want to be at like 15%. Ty Chandler, just with the way Aaron Jones plays the game, the injury risk, the usage. Ty Chandler just seems like a smash pick at 144. He's been rising recently, and he goes in this range that it's like, it's hard to imagine he doesn't outpay this ADP.
Yeah.
It really seems like a zero risk type click in this range.
This is a guy, he and Lloyd are guys I would love to have on every single team, and I do have them on a lot of teams together because they correlate with week 17. Same thing. I think he mixes in a bit, and he's got huge upside contingency because he's been the guy that sees like 70% plus of the snaps and routes and all that stuff when the other guy goes down. Jones is very good. Jones has a 1-year contract. Jones has a streaky health background, especially with like soft tissue stuff, which, flares up. And also he has no money guaranteed to him after this year. It's a 1-year deal. So late in the season, what does the staff and what does he do as a business decision if, things go sideways or they're kind of middling or whatever? Like those are things you have to think about, because it happened with Keenan Allen last year.
It's crazy.
We just saw it.
ETR was actually has a higher stance than me on Ty Chandler and you. They say he could just beat out Aaron Jones completely.
Yeah, he's not going to do that. He's not that good. Like we saw Jones.
I know you guys were high on him last year, right? But like
that's a martingale up your own ass. Like that's pretty rough. That's pretty rough.
That's hot. Jalen Wright.
I'm loving this.
Do you want to touch on that?
Please
Please go ahead.
Fantastic. The Packers are too cheap minus Jaden Reed. And also shout out to Jeff coining. Want to get some bills. What are those? I want to get the backs. I'd like to flex.
Flex. Yeah. I saw that comment. Classic.
For me, that's Ford, a guy that could get three high value touches a game.
So fun. Jalen Wright, McLaughlin, Vidal, Algier, Davis, Gibson, Chuba.
I mean, I think Wright is that like he's probably he got a little too excited. I think his range is fine. I think he's the handcuff to Mostert, but he's the most uncertain. Like this feels a little bit like the Joe Williams and Isaac Gruendo type of like, the system is very exciting and the efficiency could be awesome, but we have no idea who they really are as like a player. Yeah. Same. I'm mixing both in as they fall, but like Chandler's so cheap that it's like, at worst, it's a handcuff, and it's one of the better priced handcuffs in an offense we should really like pieces of. But for Jalen, I think handcuffed to Mostert in real life, no idea if he's actually going to like
be drafting him right now, or should we be trying to figure other people that are potentially risers without
I think you draft
training camp in Miami.
I think you draft him because like you want pieces of an awesome offense. And the rookie could be nothing or he could be awesome. And I think you have to just chase that, considering Mostert and Achane have profiles that suggest they could miss time, and even in a position that misses time a lot. And the team's going to run a lot. My thesis is Tua tends to struggle late in the season as defenses adjust to the offense, as the weather, like literally,
As his fingers get cold.
he looks worse when it's below 20. They are playing in Cleveland. Who knows what the weather element's going to be in that game? And also, Jalen Wright, for all his warts and uncertainties as a Mickey Mouse offense, does contain like an elite athletic profile that we know that like we just saw this offense score like what 6 touchdowns versus the Broncos with just elite speed. So like at worst, he's a cheap part of an offense. I don't have a lot of him because he feels like RB4 and break glass in case of emergency, maybe gets 5 touches a game. I don't know if he gets more than that without it. 2 injuries.
It would be wild to get an injury to Mostert in this offense. Like, imagine the split between like the RBs in Miami. It's just it would.
And we also don't know if
interesting.
Jalen's going to beat out like a veteran. We don't know that. Like TBD. So that's why I'm taking like I think Vidal's path to mattering week in and week out and full season is higher than Wright's.
Yeah.
But he's also really shaky. Algier is like an elite handcuff, priced very cheaply. Gibson is like
Dobbins starting to get a little bit of positive news I saw as well.
Yeah, I threw cold water on that last week.
It's a weird time.
Yeah.
I think it was over on Fantasy Sanctuary. I forced you to click Dobbins in the last round at like 211, and you were just disgusted.
Still am.
Didn't recover. McLaughlin, you like Vidal, Algier, Ray Davis. These are 2 of my favorites in this range. Gibson and Chuba. There's no reason this shouldn't be for me.
The thing with Chuba is like I love Brooks and I expect him to be really, really awesome. But Canales said they're going to run the ball a lot and they're going to prove to you how much they love to run the ball. Chuba's very effective in this offense. Like he can still get like they gave Chase Edmonds and Keyshawn Vaughn and Sean Tucker like touches in that Bucks offense last season. And then before that in Seattle, like the running backs were mixing in. So Chuba can just mix in for like 20% of work. Binka, 10 for 30 and a touchdown. Like that's not nothing in 0 running back builds. And then also I love Brooks.
An injury to Brooks.
I love Brooks, but coming off an ACL, you have like a 20% re-injury risk year 1 and going forward. So like that's an elite handcuff if we expect the offense to be more efficient on the O-line. And he already was awesome last year in a worse offense with a better coach. Like, so I have no problem taking more of him.
I not that I'm a projections guy, but like you're even seeing it. Like he projects really well, and probably some of that with early season projection. But there is that contingent value, like you said, with a running back coming back from an injury. So that should be probably prized a little higher. Both of those things combined, what's the difference between Chuba Hubbard and Jerome Ford?
I would say the way Chuba was used, less pass catching, and we should expect the Cleveland Browns to, even when they sucked, they had more scoring potential. We can say we want this offense to be better. I don't know how much better we can say it's going to be. And there is a certain level that Stefanski and this organization brings from like a scoring ceiling and floor that Carolina has shown a much lower floor. But theoretically, I agree that like, especially in the first 6 weeks, I think that's extremely valid.
I think the O-line, I mean, it's probably a big difference in O-line for certain, but
especially in the interior.
Like taking like other stuff out, you are getting about like a 40 pick, 30 something pick discount on Chuba versus Ford.
Absolutely.
Bucky Irving, Dobbins, Mitchell, Herbert. I mean,
I'm taking a shitload of Khalil Herbert.
See,
he's just so talented.
I'm the Rashawn guy.
They trusted him so much. They sat him whenever they could.
I like both. Yeah, but he ran so bad. Like the second that Khalil Herbert goes down, you have Rashawn Johnson get a concussion. And he doesn't just miss that game. He misses the next game as well. So like he missed 2 games. He didn't really have a chance to get running. He also is the only running back that is like ideal size in this backfield. You have both 5'9" running backs in Khalil Herbert and DeAndre Swift. You have Herbert, who's I'm pretty sure is a 6th-round guy. I don't believe that they have strong ties to give this guy a lot of work, even if Swift were to go down. That's where I think Rashawn Johnson's role stays the same, but it just increases. Or I think Khalil Herbert, he'll obviously get more of that work, but I
I
think you
think.
need Swift to go down to hit. That's sort of where I'm at
Well, so
with
my
Khalil Herbert.
pushback is the coaching. The reason why I'm low on Swift and I'll mix in Roshan and Khalil. I think Khalil's more talented as a rusher, like much more. It's not even close. Um, and at that point, like I'm gonna chase talent because the coaching staff has told me we're gonna ride the hot hand. Whoever's doing better. Well, who's more likely to do better? The better player. So if I'm fading Swift, I'm gonna take the other guys. I understand
Who's
Roshan's like
who's
the
ge- who's getting the high prize touches though in the red zone in this offense?
Well,
And
last year late it was both guys, but there was more instances of Khalil being the workhorse from a touch standpoint and his
mhm,
efficiency. So I'm going to bet on efficiency plus contingent touches. Roshan now is like a free pick, where he's going. So I'm
they're
fine
both
mixing him
free.
in. I am just dubious about like, talent and full. It's probably something I have to adjust to, but like he just wasn't that good of a player in the NFL last year,
It,
and I don't want to ignore that. Considering
it
this might
wasn't.
be like a
Yeah.
three-headed backfield, and
Hmm.
I'll just take the guy more likely to make every touch matter from an efficiency standpoint is probably where I lean. But I'm
He
open to
was
that
he was
changing.
Herbert was definitely a little more efficient. Let me see, 4.6 yards per carry, 6.7 in receiving, and then with
And his EPA was better
Rashawn,
too.
yeah, 4.3
Foreman,
and
I
then
mean, Foreman and
6.1.
Herbert were more valuable per touch in that offense than Roshan, and I don't want to like
Dude,
ignore that.
Foreman, Foreman, yeah, brought Nick first off to and I to the Dog Bowl in Miami on that 3 touchdown game on a pick swap, for dailies, which is hilarious. But
Can I just
I
I'm instead of typing this loudly out, Jeff, I don't think you can confidently say what the depth chart is, considering this is a new coaching staff, a new regime totally. Head coach, OC, they just brought in a bunch of their dudes they're familiar with. They just drafted guys. I don't think you can confidently say the guy coming off an Achilles tear and the shitty running backs from the previous regime are definitely above on the depth chart. I just don't think you can say that. And
yeah,
you
it's
especially can't say that with confidence with your whole ass chest when they drafted Vidal and then in their pressers said, this is a guy that fits our system well and we like what he does and how he does it. I don't think you can
mhm.
ignore that because of fucking Isaiah Spiller and Gus Dusty Edwards is
We
now
just
sitting
we
with an
don't know
injury.
enough either. We just don't
Yeah,
know
it's
enough.
it's totally ambiguous. If you
It
told me
is.
he was like a total zero, I'd believe you. And I'm not loading up on him, but I think his path to smashing is much clearer than like McLaughlin and a scroll up for me a little bit.
Oh, I
Who's he
got
going
you.
around?
I
Yeah, yeah.
got you.
So like his
Chopping it
path to
onto sticks.
smashing is better than Jalen, better than McLaughlin, better than Algier, like without contingency. Like he could be talented and useful because Greg Roman runs and Harbaugh runs a very efficient offense. They're gonna run the ball a lot, and Herbert's very good and targets the running backs. So it's like and I'm very skeptical, like as skeptical as it gets, that J.K. Dobbins coming off an Achilles year one with $50,000 guaranteed to his name, coming off a fourth year in a row struggling with a knee or soft tissue injury, is definitely gonna like be a thing this year. So I
Okay.
understand his price,
Yeah.
but at this range, round 14 on, ADP doesn't really matter. And now I'm like, what are the paths to smashing? What are the paths to mattering? And I will say that Vidal like presents a pretty big ceiling case if that hits. And his median outcome, I think, is just being like
It's
a Justice Hill in the offense. And we saw Justice Hill have some very valuable spikes, but Vidal, from a RAS and athletic standpoint, is potentially a better play than that.
I think I
No, we're
think
not.
the case for Vidal's there. I get scared off by, him playing at Troy and having a super inflated
Sure,
number of rushing
he's Jalen
yards.
Wright on an offense with less in his way as like
Yeah.
truly mattering. Like Gus is
There's
kind of dusty and
yeah.
old.
If you
JK
put Vidal and he falls too in some
Yeah,
rooms,
he does. Yeah.
if you put him behind Chuba, like I'm there. Like I'm there. It's not that far. We're talking about 12 picks. Like I will mix him in at a higher rate, but goddamn, I like Algier.
Algier is
I
great.
think he
Algier
has
is
the
great.
contingency. He's shown it. Ray Davis, I like sort of like the bet against Josh Allen in a way too, like sort of leveraging some of the Josh Allen teams.
Yeah, I'm not taking a lot of Ray Davis because he's old. He's not likely to get the pass work. To me, he's slightly younger Latavius Murray, who was 32, 33 last year, and he got some work. But like Josh Allen's still the guy, and James Cook is still the guy for like.
Definitely. They could say Josh Allen's. They want him to rush less, and you're gonna see him do the same thing.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
he's like basically Gronk when it comes to that. Like,
Yep.
oh, I forgot what I'm doing. Like, I'm just gonna run forward.
At the end of the day, he's paid the big bucks. He understands that, and he's gonna go make the big plays in the red zone. Yeah.
All right. Lastly, Tyler, who is your favorite click right now? And I'll tell you mine.
It's CEH. And
Okay.
Come at me, haters.
Oh, KCRB2. KCRB2.
Yeah. Guess what, guys? That's a valuable role. And Carson Steele's not a thing. He's an awful shit prospect. And I'm not chasing Darwin Thompson 2.0. Okay. I'm not.
I like the CH out. For me, it's Will Shipley.
I like Will Shipley. I just don't know how much work he's going to get. And I'd like to hear that he's definitely working over Kenny Gainwell first.
We can afford to wait. Is there a chance that KC brings someone in? Probably a little.
Well, that's the thing too.
But
I think it would have been. Is it likely? Because if it was likely, they would have already done it by now. Like there are cheap vets they could have brought in.
Yeah, I think it's less.
Drafted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's more likely than Philly.
I think it's more likely than Philly for sure. I think it's only likely if Isaiah Pacheco starts dealing with an injury. But Clyde sucks, but he's free. He's the RB2 on an awesome offense. And we've seen him do this stupid bullshit where he just they scheme him open as the pass catching running back. Him and Jet both have like scammed their way to easy 2 touchdown receiving games because of the way they play offense. And guess what? Jet's gone. And they brought in a bunch of dusty, shitty rookies. As of right now,
it'll be very interesting to see without McKinnon as like CEH, KCRB2. There's definitely
just on a volume standpoint. Like at this late, give me a path to just volume on random shitty spikes, and especially go into your crystal ball. Fast forward to week 17, they have blown out the Arthur Smith hapless Steelers. You're not sitting Kelsey and Pacheco, your star players, into the fourth quarter. You're throwing in Mr. Meh himself to go cleanup duty, and he gets there. Like, it's not shocking. He did it week 17, scored like 17 points last year, and he's free. That's the play.
I love it. I'm there. I need more CEH. You sold me. I'm going to be taking more. I'm going to get up to 8% now. I do like the click, especially if they don't add. I want to be around that 8% range. I don't think there's a world in which he rises. So maybe I'm focusing.
No, I think everybody says he sucks. Later. Like that's why he's here. Like his role says he should be like right behind Algier and right around like Ray Davis, and instead he never goes above the 16th round. Never.
Yeah, it's
never. Not even when the Mahomes drafter gets locked out. They wait till the 17th round to take the RB2.
Oh, they know. They're safe.
Yeah.
They're safe.
So like give that to me as a bailout.
How much do you value the coach speak on Tank Bigsby versus what you saw with your own eyes?
Here's a good rule of thumb for folks that have stayed this long as we talk about fucking running backs. Believe coach speak on fresh players who have shown us something. Fade coach speak on guys they've had multiple years to see, and nothing has seemingly changed. Because every time we get Tank Bigsby talk, then we hear in camp he looks like shit. He still looks like shit. So like same thing with Rashad, where it's like you've seen him for multiple years. I'm not believing you when you puff up your guy. I will believe you when it's a new guy. So like positive coach speak on Marshawn Lloyd. That's meaningful because he's a brand new guy to the room, right? Like the rookies, the new, like if Ridley, the coaching staff's like Ridley, he's mixing in well, he's learning the routes, blah, 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 blah. That's good. You've had a player who was one of, like, we talked about how bad AJ Dillon was. Tank Bigsby was worse. So like,
yeah, it was so much worse. And not even like the fumbles numbers don't even like tell the story of when he was fumbling. Like key moments in games, losing games.
Terrence says he could randomly have a good game. No, I don't think he's capable of having a good game. You know why? Because he and Etienne were benched for Ernest Johnson, guys. So like I think Jacksonville is sneaky, a team that should have added a running back at some point, and they haven't. And I think they're very live to, because I think the second they get into preseason and they're like, "Come on, Tank, you can do it," and he still looks like shit. And they don't want to give Etienne all the work. They have to go get somebody, a Khalil Herbert, a Kareem Hunt, etc. Like there's got to be someone better than Tank Shitsby and DeErnest. We will never forget your good days, Johnson. Like that it's a
They
rough,
were both
rough
so
RB2,
bad. They
RB3.
both, I think, were like 2.6 yards per carry. Like,
Yeah, it was so
him
bad.
and Tank.
As a rookie, that's rough.
Yeah.
Dearness used to be good.
What you remember of him?
Yeah, Dearness was good with Cleveland. The second he got Laube, I'm interested in. The problem is they brought in Madison. They're talking up Madison as a vet.
Yeah.
Antonio Pierce kind of likes and like gives the incumbent vets juice.
Bobby's done.
I think Laube has here's my case for Laube. They're a bad team and they have to pass a lot to catch up. And Laube is their best pass catcher in this universe. And he's the guy that they trust to do like kick and punt returns, and he just scores some random return touchdowns. Oh. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. The coach is like, "We love Tank. Do it, Tank." And then the beat watches him play, and it's like, Tank still sucks.
It's tough.
And the beats love talking people up. So they love it, dude.
When I first saw the news on Tank and the coach speak, like, we want to get him more touches, like, great. You're seeing Etienne fall, but you're not seeing Tank rise. It's like, okay,
which is where you take
what's
Etienne
happening here. So like I mix in Bigsby, and then we see like there's more negative news on Bigsby. So I'm like, okay,
yeah,
Etienne's still falling. He's by far, I think, my highest owned running back in the first 5 rounds at 15%. I want this higher. At 44, and he falls in rooms sometimes to 50. It's just that seems insane to me, that price. Ty, I kept you here a while. The background's green for the running backs. If you don't have time for the draft, don't feel bad to dip
Brother,
out.
Don't you dare blue ball me. You give me my goddamn best ball drizzy, you motherfucker.
He wants that $12.50 EV in this draft, and we shall give it to him.
If we ship this where I just went and I told you if we ship the stream where I just shit on half the running backs and then lauded the other half, and I'm
then we draft them all.
Fuck yeah, baby.
All right, I'm gonna grab another beer. Everyone, don't go back. I'll be right back. Slap the like. Give Tyler a follow over Fantasy Sanctuary. Link is in the description to his channel and Tom. And yeah, I'm gonna grab another cold one. We have +3 filling rooms. BRB, how many subs are we at? I feel like the boys have been doing good with the button click. If we hit 1630 on this stream, 3 subs away, we'll give out a YouTube membership on the live stream. We get the 101. Influence matters. CMC or Lamb here?
We're gonna take the only running back that actually matters, so that we can push.
I can't believe we're going ETN
101. Bijan 101, baby.
Honestly, will you by the end of the season mix in Bijan 101?
I'm taking Bijan at 4. I'm not taking him over CMC though.
Okay.
I don't think that's wise.
Okay.
It's unnecessary. Like I'm at 7.
Even from like a getting different standpoint.
No,
end of the season you sort of
you're not going to get that many 101s. I've gotten enough Bijan at 4 in BBM that I'm good. I'm not worried about the whole. I think I will get unique in and of itself. I don't need to like fade the best expected running back, who is also you are forgiven, Benny. Welcome. I don't think it's necessary. I think that's outsmarting yourself and stealing your EV.
I am guilty of it. I've gone Lamb the last 3 times from the 101 to catch up from 2% to catch up from 2% to 9%. We are now tied with CMC, and now we're pulling ahead. I get a lot of 101s. I've had 102 in 47.
All ahead, baby. Go get a beer.
Gonna grab a beer. We have 4-digit IQ in the stream.
Frank.
Artie, let's go. Nick. Artie in the live stream. King.
What
and
up?
At 42. Nick, how many drafts are you at? Because I want to see he's nearing 100. If not, he's over 100. Coco Crisp, I'm not sure. If you guys are in the live stream, let me know. And Het, what's up?
Hell yeah. Steph, what are you yelling about? What do you mean you are what? Also, drop the like, drop the sub. Pat doing fantastic work over here on the dog pound with the pounders, doing great shit. You want to see that 24-hour live stream. You know why? Delirium sets in at hour 11, 12. I'll be probably invited on that, and I'm going to definitely try to get in on the most delirious part of that stream. So drop a like, drop a sub, leave a comment afterwards, help the small streamers do great shit. And like Pat mentioned, Tom and I over on Fantasy Sanctuary stream BBMs every Monday. He drafts with DraftKings guests every Wednesday. Just yesterday, we had the grandfather influencer himself, Pete Overzet, on for Bestball Mania, and then I ripped a bunch of fast schnauzes. That was super fun. Had a really good time. So go check that out if you didn't, because we're doing a Bestball Mania giveaway, 2 of them, one for each video. If you drop the right comment on the right video, and that's all I'm saying, because you gotta check out the video comment description to know. But if you want a free entry into a giveaway for a Bestball Mania or 8.3 Schnauzers, go check that out.
8.3 schnauz. I love that.
A Hoosier getting in right at the 69-minute mark. Also, new collector asks, is it true if I have Easter eggs or change your background each stream? That is correct. I do have Easter eggs and change my stream every single stream. Change my background every single stream. Used to, it was like just random shit on the desk. I know. And now I'm like, I want a wardrobe change.
I was wondering if anyone was going to
I want a
notice.
wardrobe change.
Oh, that's funny.
I just hit,
That's
so
a lot.
in fairness, I hit the gym, took the dogs out, and that's why I was too lazy to like. Also, it's 1 billion degrees here in Houston. I sweat like a damn pig. So that's why I'm all nice and comfy. But yes, the stream setup lately, now that I've kind of got a little bit of stuff set up until I get like a nice, like, what do you want to call it? Like a sign on the back wall. I'm just setting up my vinyl record player, and I'm just throwing on random vinyls that I own in the background, because I own way too many. So there's your little, and then I also set up.
Are you allowed to use that on the YouTube machine, or do they copyright that?
I am working on, I know there are a few artists and a few record labels in the scene that don't have, that have like royalty-free, strikey shit. So I'm just trying to work with them so I can like play some music, because I need some music on some of these solo streams.
I hear you. Plus EV. Barkley, if he falls to us, are you tempted? No, we have CMC. There's no way, right?
Yeah, no. I don't think it's wise.
Okay. Receivers
but
here.
If you want to get a little freaky on this Saturday night, I'm gonna let you get a little freaky. I would do Smith Metcalf or Metcalf Evans personally.
Smith Metcalf or Metcalf Evans. Those will be the higher owned combos. Let me grab Metcalf, and you know what? We're going to come here. We're going to go to our draft tool. If we know how to spell Christian, exposure, combinations, give me the receivers. Mike Evans at 50%. So I'm glad we didn't go Evans.
Let's do Smith, just in case there's a falling hurts. I like to give myself a little out just in case.
Woo!
You never know.
All right.
Also,
so
a little bit
of lot of CMC and Evans, and sort of you don't know how many CMC teams you're going to get. I don't have a 50% confidence rate in that combo hitting.
Fair enough.
So getting a little different there feels good.
Fair enough. Also, a little bit of leverage both in this room and then in week 17, taking Smith over AJ Brown. We're not confident who's going to score the most points that week, but we are confident there are going to be a lot of points scored in that game.
Whoa.
Sharp Consultant. This is what when we never got to the risers, but like I pretty much just said all the big names that the casual drafters, and not to offend, but the badgeless drafter in this draft room.
Oh, the badgeless zombies. The badgeless zombies.
At 27, like they will. Guys like Saquon, guys like JT, guys like Kelsey, guys like those big names will rise up, because that's the name they trust. That's the name that they recognize. That's the player they know from their home league that won them their league.
He won me my 10-man league.
Yeah.
Well, this is close to that. It's just 617,000.
Steph, if you want someone to take something off, you got to pay the bucks. You more than anybody from Dallas knows that the money speaks.
Cash talks. 2 subs away, and we're going to be giving away a YouTube membership to a subscriber in the live stream. The legend is with us. the legend. Hit him with the gritty welcome, my friend. Says, yesterday I went JT at the 110, then Ayuk on the way back. Have either of you skipped on a round one player and then drafted 2 round 2 players? Or is this
Mhm.
another bad move on my part? I think it is interesting sort of going. I've done a Marv Drake London team from the 12. That's probably as spicy as I've gotten just yet. I've moved Debo up with Gibbs. I've moved Debo up with Amon-Ra. I've done some of that at 12, Debo Gibbs, but that's
I
it.
Yeah, I think it's a little unwise because the first round picks are priced the way they are because of the profiles they offer. And the second and third round is flat because it lacks that confidence of profile, of volume, of offense, etc. So I think you're doing yourself a little bit of a disservice trying to get unique this early in the drafting season because ADPs are going to shift. They always do by the end of the season. If I recall correctly, I believe Hit Him with the Gritty is mostly done. So I'm sure he's trying to get unique with his
Mm,
stuff.
mm,
You just don't know if that's actually going to end up being unique. I think JT probably gets
definitely.
pulled closer to that range when you've got more casual folks coming in late July and August. And then that's going to be an even easier fade for me, considering, you know, this is true. High tea, baby.
It's
I'm feeling a little. My muscles feel a little flat
oh my.
in looking at this 3 running back start. So I think it's a
Already
little too
already ripped us in the
gal-brained,
live stream.
especially with Ayuk. Kind of having like I think he's gonna fall unnecessarily. So I think you're gonna get some fun, unique things. I think
Mm-hmm.
the only combo I'm even thinking about doing is like Olave Adams at the 1-2 turn. If my preferred targets go, and I don't want to start with Gibbs as a
Mm-hmm.
running back, I think that's the only true defensible move. And even then, I think Adams as an older player showing a little bit of decline
Mm-hmm.
in efficiency with a similar questionable setup at quarterback and offensive like pace of play and
Mm-hmm.
efficiency. That's something that I'm wanting Adams to fall closer to the 2-3 turn, which he's doing more regularly now. So like it's yeah,
Yeah,
Jameer
Jeff says I've
Ayuk,
seen more Jameer,
yeah,
and that's where like okay, if the majority of people are pulling up Ayuk, I'm gonna do it
I'm
with
doing
Debo.
Debo at that point. Yeah, same,
Like
same.
give me the 10% of those two being pulled up
If you want to get wild, do it. I just think you do it knowing it's high risk. And maybe
this early in the off season, not knowing
and
where
maybe
ADPs are
extra high.
gonna
Yeah, yeah.
definitely definitely.
Like I anecdotally, I was drafting like Jacobs Adams together early in the draft season to like, oh, let me get these two like Raiders combos together. And then guess who both players ended up falling to like the 3-4 turn on a regular basis by the end of August. And both were low advance rate, rough busts at 3-4 turn cost and min third cost versus 1-2 turn. So I would advise against doing that this stage in the game.
Mm-hmm. Oof, Reed going off earlier than he has to. 45. Hollywood Brown at 46, probably trying to bring in the Mahomes double
hmm
here. This
hmm
is where you give us Lamar at 48, I believe.
Also, I know Het 711 is
Ooh.
he watches live stream.
This has to be Lamar, right?
Doesn't have to be.
What would you do
I
here
think
if you didn't go Lamar?
I think this is a classic combo of Lamar Andrews. So I think if you want to push like the unique lever, we flip the board at receiver, and
But
do
will
that instead.
Lamar let
If
me
you want
do
to do it,
this
that's
real quick.
fine. I'm just letting you know that this is this is my most unique pairing of Lamar Andrews is with CMC. But if you don't have it, we can add it to your portfolio.
Yeah, let me have a peek here. I have one team, so
Let's
not
do
the
that. I mean,
highest of combos for me
it's a
personally.
fun combo. I can't blame you on it.
Will will he rise? And right now you're seeing these QBs still fall, and some of
I
that
think he
might have
only
to do
rises if
with
all the QBs rise.
right,
So
and they're
maybe.
all sort of falling slowly. And I think
Mm.
maybe as these late QBs, as these middle round QBs, this tier get more expensive, then you'll see a rise. But everyone's just everyone's pissing right now. Everyone's pissing right now.
Chat, I just want you to notice. I love drafting with Pat because I make my drafting style makes Pat extremely uncomfortable, and it's a fun little push and pull.
What did you want to click there? What did you want to click there?
I would have suggested like kind of flipping the board at receiver and kind of mixing up things like a Keenan Worthy or a Worthy Ridley, or like
What are you on, Keenan?
if you want to Galbrain combos at 1 through 3, then go ahead and mix up the 4-5 combo at wide receiver with CMC and use the power of CMC. Use the power of CMC and Jesus to push advance and to get a little unique pairing of CMC in the playoffs. Very fine doing that at that point because you've mitigated a little bit. CMC 101, you're saying that's a power law player taking you to the promised land. And then you've decided you're making it out of this pod and you're making it into the 3-week sprint at the playoffs. Now these combos at 4-5 and 2-3, you have a little bit more margin of error in that universe, and I'm okay shifting up the uniqueness there at that point. But Lamar Andrews.
Are you high on Keenan Allen this year?
I'm not. I threw out the name because maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm a little a little
See, that's where I am with Keenan. So when I see Keenan like reaching on Keenan, I get that feeling.
I mean, Worthy was going to be the guaranteed reach. Worthy was the guaranteed reach.
That's why I had the pushback. I saw the portfolio opportunity. 100% my bet. 100%.
No, all good. I mean, like I said, I'm just gonna.
Can we get some of these falling rookies that maybe were a little more priced up at the start of the season? They're still falling. Can we get a double tap here at 72, 73 that you couldn't get before too?
I mean, potentially, yeah. And Trey McBride falling all the way back to the Jalen Hurts drafter. That's nice.
Yeah, that's insane, huh? 57. But honestly, I think he belongs there.
I disagree. I'm very high on Trey.
I think
Trey going behind Dalton Kincaid is egregious now. Ooh. I'm going to look into the camera. Clip it, ship it, send it. Okay. I'm not scared.
Okay.
Dalton Kincaid over Trey McBride is egregious, and it's going to look egregious. McBride is likely to outscore Trey McBride, grown-ass man, baby Gronk in the desert, is likely to outscore Laporta, Kelsey, and Andrews over the course of the season and a single week in the finals, let alone Dalton Kincaid, let alone pile shits in Atlanta. It's ridiculous.
All right, my turn. Ready? Kyle Pitts. I love Kyle Pitts. Trey McBride is sexy David Njoku. That's it. He's sexy David Njoku.
Trey McBride did more. Trey McBride did more.
Didn't have any target competition. I don't want to hear about what he did. I want to know what he's going to do this year with the new landscape.
What the hell did Njoku do for his first 4 years? He split with. Oh, dude, this is egregious. Okay,
tight ends have late breakouts. Tight ends have late breakouts. All the time.
So when a tight end has an early breakout, that's huge.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing, but there's serious target competition.
There's one serious target. One.
Yeah, I like him. I'm mixing him in. So I'll show you the exposies. What are the exposies at? We're at 4%. I'm mixing him in.
Brother, if you're not close to 15, you're not.
I think he belongs. I think due to ADP, the people that you can get later, even in. Okay, he's sexy Evan Ingram. Is that better?
I think that's worse. Njoku's a more talented player.
That's the best. All right, what's your? We got a double tap receiver in this range.
Yeah, because you got greedy and you wanted a Baltimore. I think Watson for sure.
Okay.
God, this sucks. See, you fucked me here, man. I hate
big time.
JSN.
I'm getting you uncomfortable.
And this sucks. I don't like JSN, but he stacks up with the Seattle bet we made.
God damn it. Oh, you want the double? I don't think we have to double them.
I don't think we have to, but like for Deontay isn't fun.
We can get Lockett on the way back around.
No, I think Jason's a better bet than Lockett. Take Jason. God damn it.
We're doing the three by week 10. We are following the herd here.
Jesus Christ.
I'm fine with it. The problem with this, for me, at least what I forecast, is like I already know like can't go Dobbs, which I'm not a big Dobbs guy.
That's fine.
Can't go Dobbs, can't go Myers, can't go Wicks.
Yeah, look what you did to us. Look what you did to us.
It'll be difficult too.
That's okay, because I've got some other names in mind that don't have a week 10 bye week.
Jeff calling
also
me out
that
for 0% JSN. I'm trying my hardest.
I don't like JSN, but I will acknowledge huge OC boost and expected bump. I will note I will note that Lockett is starting to have like a multi-year decline in efficiency. He's at an advanced age. Late season, we've decided CMC's advancing us. So late season, the guy more likely to have a spike is the youth that had a really good profile, questionable year 2 profile. I trust me, I'm low on Jason too, but we've made a bet on Seattle, and I'm not going to be surprised if in a more efficient play action offense with Grubb, that Jason is utilized better than a screen merchant off a broken wrist by Shane Waldron. And one of the reasons to be uncertain about how the Bears receivers are going to go, because Shane Waldron kind of a mixed bag at OC.
At best.
But yeah, so there you go. We're both a little uncomfortable, and those are the fun drafts.
That's I fully this is like the classic, like, I am free rolling right now. Let's Stroud off at 78. That's freaking notable. Nick is probably jumping up and down. I'd be surprised. Yeah, he even has the Nico piece.
Yep. That's nice.
He's very excited right now.
Yep, that's nice.
He's so excited that he's like not talking in the chat because he's like, no way that just happened.
He went to the bathroom.
Showed his wife.
We know what's happening. We're going to let it happen because we understand. Well, not only that, he got Laporta at 43. The dude's scooping value. Nice draft. Nice draft. Don't fuck it up.
Damn. McCaffrey trying to bribe us with filling a sprint right now.
This man has no shame.
Savage.
He is on Discord. He's on Twitter. He's on his stream chatting to fill this sprint. That's fantastic.
Yeah. You got to do what you got to do. He's attacking. From what I heard, he's attacking the early ADPs. Attacking them.
As he should. The ADP is pretty fake because there hasn't been like a lot of drafts.
Yeah.
Meatwad, relax. He didn't win. It's nice. It's roster bait-esque.
I like Rashee Rice's wide receiver 5 here, especially like I have him as a riser.
Oh yeah.
Keenan Allen to sort of pad that to the first 4 or 5 weeks, whatever he gets. It's a nice looking team. Even Sam Laporta for that's a sick start.
All right, I signal boosted Jewish McCaffrey on Twitter. You're welcome.
How many?
Now Jewish.
Is it?
Now Jewish. Go tell Bonesaw not to fucking tag me.
Bowers at 87 with Kittle. Little hot take there by Mike.
Little spicy.
Spicy. Definitely getting spicy. We need a full on recovery here, at least for my mental state on the JSN click. Who are you?
Your mental state is fine. We have Lamar, Andrews, and CMC. Relax. Anything after that, disregard. Okay.
We need Geno from 2 years ago. Bad.
Geno was good last year. Mina and other folks noted that like no one got put in a worse 3rd and long situation more often than Geno Smith and the Seahawks because of what they did early runs, inefficient early runs, 2 hurt tackles, like. And they have a total regime change. I think, Metcalf especially is going to be just fine. I think it raises his floor. He still has that stupid high ceiling, and somewhat similar thing for Jason.
Sturdy wide receiver 2 numbers with the chance of blowing up and putting up a wide receiver 1 overall game. That's Metcalf in a handbag.
Yeah, which is what you want on a CMC team because he's your advanced rate piece, and then at that point you just want grown ass men.
I'm not even big on Sutton, but I'm sad to see him go.
Well, go ahead and remove the quarterback tab because we're not looking at quarterback.
No, we're clicking Geno. How about Shaheed?
I like Shaheed
and Palmer.
I like Shaheed. I don't think Palmer's necessary. Let's talk about it.
To pad that. Well, let's
talk about it.
Okay.
Because we're gonna like some receivers. We're gonna like some receivers coming up.
Where are they?
Well, I'm not saying shit because we're in a sharp room on stream. Everybody knows what we want. Okay. Everybody knows what we want.
Shaheed, who would be your second click here?
I don't mind taking either Njoku or a running back we like.
Okay. If we're gonna go QB with if we're going to go Geno, we should probably try to just add Fant as the late tight end.
Are you scared of going 3
Are we
quarterback?
gonna like the running backs that come back to us in this range better than the receivers?
Not with the room we're gonna get. Slam B-Rob. Let's put our stamp. Oh, his fingers are so slow.
The
His
speed's
fingers
not there.
are so
He
slow.
says it at 2.2 seconds on the clock. Says slam B-Rob, not even draft B-Rob, like slam B-Rob. Like I have to decode. I have to decode the message first. Like he either wants me to like do something really weird or he wants me to draft B-Rob. Like I had to decode it first.
Can I give you some shit here? I told you I had 30% B-Rob. As a host, you gotta remember who I like, and then have that ready in your mind. I think Mostert's fine because Mostert's still. I mean, here's the thing: Mostert can be healthy in the finals, and he still was the red zone back in that offense, and he's leveraged against Achane, who we did not take, and he's attached to a high power offense. It's true. It's true. You gotta slam the bat.
I'll be quicker next time. I'll be quicker.
We're really making the portfolio rich and uniqueness here for you.
Yeah, we were unique after round 2 here.
Doan's noting that reaching more than 5 picks doesn't work well. Yeah, the caveat is we're on the turn. So you have to bake in like a 10 pick ADP reach as okay because you're getting less of the fallers and you'll never get access to a flat tier of the entire round if you tell yourself I can never like that's why being a servant
you have to play it so differently, otherwise you can just get completely boxed at a position of need if you're not going to get those guys.
Exactly. Yeah, the turn is special rules apply. 10 picks is fine on the turn. Especially like you don't if you did that, you're drafting every single same like turn team everybody else is, and that's also very bad for your
and you're
expected
gonna have
value.
Projected risers and fallers and shit too. So yeah, I'm good with that
100%. So to give credit to Jeff, who's been
5.
Is he stacked? Is he stacked?
Does it even matter? No, he's not.
Your love of Joe Burrow unstacked knows no
backstack
bounds.
is coming, boy. The backstack is coming. Chase Brown, Burton, Gesicki, all in the bag.
Ooh, his worst options where he's least likely to smash. That's a great option.
That's fine. Think the year Karain won the what, 2 milli? Tyler Boyd was on the way to have a big old game with the touchdown in the first quarter.
Oh yeah, famously Tyler Boyd
that
was
leverage shot
that
on
season.
Joe Burrow and Tyler Boyd. I think Burton's a better Boyd.
Burton is a better Boyd. What if he has to rotate with Yoshi and Charlie Jones though? Because he's unproven and he's a character concern.
What if since he tags T. Higgins and trades him like Casey did to
they're gonna
did to AJ Brown?
They're gonna do that while paying Joe Burrow $50 million.
No, they're definitely not.
Yeah,
Higgins, they have a series. Any chance they have, if Burrow, the only chance they do that is if Burrow gets hurt. That's the only way I see it happening.
I mean, they're still not getting that much for T because no one's going to trade a lot knowing that they're in a tough situation. Like they overplayed their hand. They could have gotten like a first rounder plus for him last year. They sat on it and they've boxed themselves into being cheap. That's just what they do. That's how they do business.
You can't tell me how to live my life.
That's true. It's true.
You won't. Now, I mean, Joe Burrow 105. I don't care if he's stacked or not. I just think that could be a great advanced piece. Now, for this team, could he afford to go Joe Burrow with just 3 receivers? Probably not. But that's probably the trap pick.
Also, yeah, the data
specifically, I'll give you that.
I mean, like, what is that adding? Also, like, what this team took Hurts, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What are you doing?
This team specifically, it's
what do you like? No offense. I think you're watching, but like. That value took you out of sound construction. I'm sorry. Like that's not.
I agree.
It doesn't do what you think it does. And
my safety blanket pick is just staring me in the face, just saying "fuck you." the bye week 10.
I'm not afraid of buys. Okay. I'm not afraid of buys. We're gonna have to take.
Can we go quorum here? Can I get the first share of quorum on stream?
I think that makes sense in a CMC team. Outside of that. Click the wide receiver tab for me real quick. What's our next pick? ADP wise?
121.
No. Like next round. It's like 144.
140. Yeah.
God damn, I'm good. You know, it's not fun, but Jerry Judy correlates. I'd rather have Downs though, but
Ooh.
Judy correlates.
Ooh.
That's all I'm gonna say. Because we took
But
Mostert.
when we get sniped on Geno Smith and we have to grab the Levis Chiggy,
Take Downs. Take the better player. Take Downs.
I'm good with that.
I hate taking Jerry Judy. So let's get some. This is an
so
offense
glad.
that we
I'm so
expect to
glad
be
we could
really
share a
good.
moment. I'm so glad we could share a moment here. I would take Jerry Judy here if you said it. If it was not,
I didn't want him. I didn't want him.
That so much.
I didn't want him. I hate Jerry Judy.
I'm so happy about that.
I hope
we
Jerry
get to
Judy
remain. We
scores
get to
0
remain at
points.
0 Jerry Judy. I'm very excited.
Look at us. Look at us. This has been a roller coaster of a team, and it's been fantastic.
Oh, there's been ups and downs for sure. But we're gonna end up. We're gonna end up, up.
Everybody in the chat, dude. I can't be nice. I'm as blunt as it comes.
I made him draft J.K. Dobbins on the live stream on Fantasy Sanctuary.
And I'll never forget.
Legit.
And I'll never
full
forget.
on payback. Full on payback. He's like, I'm looking at Pat's lowest exposed players and just recommending guys.
Well, no, you timed out on Mostert, so Judy was there. But I think Judy's a worse player than Downs. I think the offense is likely better from a scoring efficiency. And I think Downs, before he had to play through injury, was phenomenal. And I'm willing to buy the dip that he's potentially still phenomenal with a healthy offseason behind him, not having to play through injury because they just had nobody out there and they needed to try to do what they can. AD Mitchell, I'm pretty low on the profile. Pittman, I think he's a PPR scam, too expensive.
Yeah,
let me get Downs, who's like who we talked about that like AR hitting his ceiling.
Pittman, that was the take on like Flacco. I think Flacco needs to play in order
Flacco's
for
good for
Pittman to
Pittman.
hit.
Yeah. Well, Pittman can hit if they just like connect on deep stuff. But I think Downs and AD Mitchell are like their deep out guys. And Downs was very good at that as both a target earner and an efficient like speed out, catch radius, like all that. So he's my preferred pick at ADP and as a talent guy in a high paced offense. Also a lever against. We didn't take Pittman. We didn't take JT. We didn't take AR. But we want a piece of this offense. Boom. Wide receiver 6. I love it.
Bingo. And we're going to have a chance to recover more. I mean, the receivers, DK, Devonta Smith, Christian Watson, JSN, Rashid Shaheed, Josh Downs, we are balancing sort of ceiling and high floor plays, if we can call it JSN that. The elite QB with Lamar, the elite tight end with Mark Andrews, CMC, Mostert. Blake
I knew
Corum.
Polk was going to go before we got our pick. That's what I really wanted.
I was looking at Polk too.
Yeah. Yeah, like the way we had, and that's why I was like, I am not getting stuck with a goddamn team attached to my name that has fucking JSN and Jerry Judy on it. Like I can't. I'm not. God. I refuse. Thank God. Like, need some talent. Give me some talent on this damn team. But no, this is good. This is different, but good.
10 picks.
It's different but good.
Shout out to Frank in the 7 spot. Gonna read off his squad real quick. Bijan, Devontae Adams, Achane at 31.
Nice.
Terry, Calvin Ridley, BTJ, Evan Ingram, James Conner, smashing.
With Jaden
Daniels and Trevor Lawrence smashing.
Gorgeous
in my opinion,
team.
Like all the pockets. And then Gabe Davis to bring on with the BTJ and T-Law. Frank is putting on a masterclass right now.
I'll tell you something. And I'm going to say it with my whole ass chest. This draft room is like being in a strip club. Everything else I'm looking at is making me very hard. And I'm very excited about it.
Jesus.
And then I go home. Nah, I kid. That's where it ends.
You get the last sentence on the Discord though. You get the last sentence on the Discord.
I go home and it's fantastic. But I'm looking at all these
on the board at 141.
Yeah, he's been falling a lot. I saw him fall to like 150 the other day.
All right, I fucked up. Wow. I fucked up by going Lamar.
That's okay. You had to get that delicious 3-pick discount for a chalky Lamar Andrews stack. It's okay.
With the different DK Devonta Smith.
No, it's good. It's fine. You needed this for your portfolio at the expense of having fun. It's all good.
Kendre Mooney scream at me right now.
Mooney's an absolute no. You kidding me?
All right. Who we clicking? Who we clicking?
Burton is that like rookie black box, and then we shut
I
it
thought you
down.
didn't want to backstack Burton with a
We're not
late
backstacking
with a
Burrow. We're
late with a
taking a
late
talented
Burrow.
rookie receiver. It's a different bet.
17%. You think I'm not mad about it?
All right, now we can shut it down, and I feel great about it. At this point, I think a tight end makes sense, or Kendre. I'm fine with Kendre correlates. We got Shaheed. Let's do a little stacky stack.
I like it.
Yummy
like
yummy. Here we go. Little discount too.
We get the week 17 mini dome game. Not bad.
Yeah, I almost
Are you
suggested.
drafting any of the Vegas QBs?
No, I think it's too early to. They're gonna likely rotate, much like Pittsburgh, on a potentially worse offense. Neither of them really have as much. No, we don't. Neither have as much rushing upside. Both guys like average like 14 points per game. So I feel like, what do you win when you win? Not much.
Yeah. Right.
And
Unless
much
you're
like
making what if you're making like a double stack like Devontae Adams Myers bet? Would you?
yeah, you don't need the QB to hit that though.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Also, because we decided on this team, Mark Andrews is the number one target, and Lamar rarely feeds multiple guys. And so in our environment, with the way that we built, we're saying Lamar plus Andrews is the entire stack we need. And I'm very fine with that.
It's rare that two people are going to hit, and if Devontae Walker does hit, like, yes, he's a late stack that could just be a good advance rate piece if he does play over Bateman or whatever it may be. I think that's a difficult thing to say this early, but it is, you are sort of leveraging against yourself in an offense that multiple receivers aren't getting there on the same week. It's very much like Philly. Like, multiple receivers aren't getting there. So I don't get excited when I see people say like, oh, like last year I got the Devonta Smith, AJ Brown, Hurts stack. Like, congrats. Like, what do you win? You just leveraged yourself.
I mean, I don't fully agree with that, because I think if they didn't have one of the worst dog shit offensive coordinators in the league last year, and just kind of like a total sap in morale for the whole back half of that, Hurts hitting a nuclear ceiling game, throwing multiple touchdowns to Smith and AJ Brown with yards, and then whatever he does with his legs, like that stack is valuable. Like, there's a world where he throws, 100 yards to AJ Brown and a touchdown, 100 yards to Devonta Smith and a touchdown, and rushes into, and like that stack is valuable for like 70 points. Like that universe exists. I understand what you're saying, but I think part of that, with a rushing quarterback, having access to that pass ceiling, much like Josh Allen, plus Diggs plus Kincaid, similar thing. Without a Diggs fall off, that still provides a stupidly high nut outcome ceiling if the rusher rushes and then also hits like a multi-touchdown 300 plus yard game. Like that's what you're chasing in that 1% outcome, and in a field of over 500. I don't think you're leveraging yourself. I think you're giving yourself access to a very rare 3-player ceiling. But I understand, like,
I think
that
from an advance rate standpoint,
it
won't hurt you, but in a single game standpoint, a run first offense where you're depending on
it wasn't run
to
first offense until it got shitty, though. That's where I'm pushing back. Like, this year, if their pass rate over expecting is like above average, it should surprise no one. With Kellen Moore, like,
it's just difficult to get 2 wide receiver 1 numbers out of both of them, and Hurts, Hurts gets there just in a different way with his rushing touchdowns, with the tush pushes, and Devonta Smith and AJ Brown,
both
but like touchdowns for their price.
The Kansas City Super Bowl, Super Bowl is what I'll show you, though. If, like, look at him hit that ceiling and pass, like 400 yards passing, blah blah blah. Like, you wanted his pass catchers at that point.
Who do you like at this spot? And
Gino goes. That's fantastic. Love that for us.
You knew that was going to happen. You just it was guaranteed.
Yeah, love that for us.
It's a late Levis Chig stack with the Downs bring back week 16.
I don't think it's late. I don't think it's late. I think we have to tap it right here.
Do you like Roman Wilson in this spot?
We're not taking another receiver.
Well, we're not going Chig here.
You're hoping Chig comes back around and we have a unstacked Levis. Is that what you want?
I mean,
We're
I'm not overly against the unstacked Levis. Pushing Chig. Is there a player in this range that would make sense to you? If not, like I'm completely fine with reaching up for Chig.
No, I think this is a pretty flat tier, and I think at this point we're just stacking because we want stacks in a single week thing. And this is
That's what I'm saying. I
it's pretty flat.
am willing to risk it if there is a player that we think goes in this tier that doesn't go in the later tier with our next two picks.
I like I don't like doing this, but like we didn't have any Tennessee pieces, so we didn't corner the market. There's no reason for him to drop back to us.
Yeah, I
I
agree
see
with the
teams
chat
I see
on
teams with
Tyler Boyd.
0 tight ends. We're seeing this room kind of be chaotic. Our quarterback goes unstacked. Past round 14,
But we can add another receiver. Like we're not going 6 running backs with CMC.
we're not,
We're
but
not
I'm
going
just
more
saying that
than
like
QB.
you want to stack up your guys, QB, tight end stack. That could be access to all the touchdowns. And at the end of the day, you don't want an unstacked quarterback if we can help it. I don't love Carr with just Rashid Shaheed and an unknown like Juwan injury. I think Juwan should be fine late season, but I talked with Steph, who was on the Fantasy Sanctuary 2 weeks ago or past week. Stuff is fuzzy. There's risk there. I think it's fine, but like again, it's not my preferred stack. And in the Chig game where he cracks our lineup, it's because he scores 2+ touchdowns, which means Levis is thrown for 2+ touchdowns. I'm fine with that.
Who did this? He had Lockett.
Lockett. Yeah.
We get boxed by the 2 spot, which you can't control.
Yeah, like Carr is fine. I'm not thrilled about it though, because Carr is one of like the worst red zone quarterbacks efficiency wise. If we had Olave, like I just like it's fine. And also at this point, like 3 quarterbacks stacked is an option. Like
Remember
we
the
have a lot of
days.
flexibility. We have a lot of flexibility with a CMC team. We're allowed to get weird. This team's already been weird. As long as our quarterbacks are stacked, we're doing fine. And I'm fine starting to like we're at the point now, in my opinion, we've built flexibility to have a team. We know we're advancing because of CMC, because of an elite quarterback, elite tight end, and now we want to weaponize this team for 3-week playoff like sprint, and we want to capture volatility and chaos. I'm not going to get cute with how I do that, and if I end up getting a falling Carr plus Jawan, cool. But I think like full season and single game, I like Levis's ability to put up multiple touchdowns and multiple yards on a higher pass rate offense, and a guy who has more mobility as well than Carr. I think Carr, Kendre, Jawan, Shaheed is fine. But we still might get that. And then we have 3
What do you
quarterbacks
like the
stacked up.
combo? Can I ask you what do you like the combo of better? I guess Levis. So it would be Chig plus a receiver that comes back to us, or Tyler Boyd and Jonnu Smith. So I guess we don't know just yet.
I like Jonnu, but like Tyler Boyd is dusty. No, heck, you're building your team. You got to do what you got to do. We got to play the room too. That's just how it goes.
Just good on you for paying attention. Obviously, good on you for being in the room. A little plus EV for you there. Smash the damn like. We need that EV back.
So you
Baker
say that, but
83.
ugly teams make it all the time.
Only the ugly ones make the finals. Except
Only
for
the
my
ugly.
Dalmatian
Nice,
last year was a fucking beautiful team.
yeah, yeah. The ugly teams are the ones that go like, how the hell did this team make it? Chaos. That's how.
Mm-hmm. Hunter Henry used to be a common faller, or like not even common faller. He used to go in this goddamn range where you're just like, yeah, I'm just gonna click Hunter Henry again.
Mm-hmm.
161. He's been rising. I'm at 37%, so it's not bad to get off the click.
I'm at 38.5%. We're right. We're in like lockstep there.
Yeah, dude. It's because of the Patriots shit, but
2 years in a row, he's been my oh shit, I need a tight end pick. He got paid more. Alex Van Pelt bringing over the Stefanski offense. It's quarterback to tight end, quarterback to running back. So I'm gonna chase it. Tight ends need touchdowns to matter, and then yards are nice. Well, Hunter Henry's a multiple touchdown kind of guy, and the wide receiver room still looks pretty gross.
Yeah, like a cheap Cole Kmet.
Bow, 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 bow.
So we have a 2-4-7-2. We're done at QB, I presume. where
Perhaps.
Dunnett,
I'm not
tight
saying that
end,
with
you
confidence.
presume?
I
Okay.
don't mind 3 quarterbacks stacked
Carr?
up.
You just talk shit about Carr.
I did, and now we get him back. So I suggest we do the Carr. I think we do the Carr
If we do
Jawan
Dobbs here,
Dobbs. You are you
Dobbins.
changing his name to make it sound better? No,
Hey,
we
I'm
push running
trying.
back to the we push running back to the last pick because we have CMC and we
Do you
got
like the
Mostert.
Devontae, Walker, Tyler Boyd,
No,
Slayton
no, no, no,
range
no,
of
no,
receivers? Okay.
no, no. I
Good
think
with Carr.
we get the little stacky stack, and you either take Jawan or we take I take Herbert or Herbert or Jonu.
Let's go
I
Herbert
love
here.
Herbert.
Let's go Herbert.
And we get who we get coming right back. And look at that. Look at that chat. We played it exactly how I wanted to play it. Stacked QBs, push the edge it all the way. Because we kind of got fucked on the turn a little bit.
And Derek Carr's it's that piece that maybe you need week 16. Week, in a 16 team pod. Now, do you think Derek Carr could carry you in a week 17 slate where Lamar goes? I guess he's not that expensive. He's borderline
In this
5th-round pick.
universe, Lamar could do what he did against Houston in the playoffs, which is rush for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. Or Derrick Henry could rush for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Lamar scores 15 points. Levis hands off to Spears and Pollard that just take care of business against Jacksonville, who has potentially a weak run defense. All of a sudden, Carr, brother, yes. Yeah, no. And then Carr, Shaheed, and Kendre, another 300-yard plus multi-touchdown game. Boom. We need that for our lineup. Like having access to 3 different stacks and 3 different games is the most EV you can add to your playoff.
It's a beautiful thing.
Playoff shit.
And then Tyler said, live a little bit.
Live. Explode with life is what I would say.
What are your thoughts on these late round giants? Are you a Slayton guy or are you a Hyatt guy? Or are you just ignoring the click?
Hyatt has a really rough year 2 profile, but there was talk of him potentially getting back into the slot by Dayball going into the draft, which I think hurts Wandale, who is middling to fine. I also think Neighbors is going to be a guy who moves into the slot sometimes too. So, potentially it's
That's how they
Neighbors.
used him all over in college.
Yeah, so I won't be surprised if like Neighbors is doing like 30 to 40% slot, which takes away from Hyatt working in the slot where he's better. But Hyatt's a speed deep guy, so I think like what Hyatt and Slayton need to matter is very simple: deep touchdowns and one touchdown catch with 50 plus yards hits your lineup in the last 2 rounds. Valuable. I think Wandale, he needs to like hit like 8+ targets, which I think is less likely to happen with Daniel Jones at quarterback and Neighbors in town. And so I think if it was like Wandale, Slayton, and Hyatt all like in the last 2 rounds, pick your favorite, whatever. I'm partial to Slayton because they gave him a little bit of extra money, and he's the only guy that's like year in and year out been an undervalued 100+ touchdown, multi-touchdown game guy. He got there in week 17. If you stacked him without the quarterback, you were doing great. So, I like him. Hyatt, not as much, but Hyatt can get there just getting like a deep slot touchdown with Neighbors taking away coverage. It could happen. I don't mind it as like a bring back on stuff at all.
There goes Juwan, but
That's
I
okay.
agree with the take.
Kendre hitting our
15%
lineup happens
Hyatt.
because he's getting passes, so that's fine. We pushed him as we should. He's got a foot injury. You got to take that. You got to push it to the max. I think receiver makes sense here.
Oof. Is it the late A.T. Perry?
No, I think we take a better talent bet.
Okay.
And go with God. All right, I'm gonna float something fun. You ready?
Floaters? I'm down for floaters. We're not in Florida, but I'm in.
Malik Washington.
Oh, 100%.
Boom. We saved the draft. Super fun. 100%. You're welcome, everybody.
We're live.
Boom.
And we're live. Someone took Odell. Idiot. And we took the wide receiver 3 on the team come, week 8. Week 8.
I mean, it could be sooner than that.
It's Odell definitely. I hated the signing. I was super heavy on Malik. The big board.
I think OBJ could very well just be like Robbie Chosen, locker room guy. deep out decoy, just vibes. I don't think he wasn't a threat on a worse receiver group last year. Why would he be this year?
I am right there with you. I like the Malik Washington. He's like he's like a Dollar Tree Tyler Lockett right now.
I'm looking at his RAS right now because that's what was fun about him last year, and he has elite explosion. So like he doesn't need a whole lot of touches.
We love Elite Explosion on this stream.
We love elite explosion.
That's what you need.
Especially if you're going to be the wide receiver 3 in a yak heavy offense.
He plays bigger than he is. He wins downfield.
Yeah.
Like he's
also a pretty good target earner. Yeah, let me read off these metrics for you. He had an 8.51 RAS with a 4.47, a 42.5 vert, and a 10-foot 6-inch broad jump. Elite explosion, good speed, awesome 40, awesome bench. Just a dog. Just a goddamn dog in Miami, baby.
Hell yeah. I need more of him. I'm at 2%, so I think that's 2 shares. But we'll get to our fair share of 8+. Het in the 2 spot in the live stream. Dak, Geno, and Bryce Young. Do you like this combo of QBs, or do you want some sort of rushing upside here?
I mean, Dak has more rushing upside than people give him credit for. It feels like every other year he swings between 2 and 6 rushing touchdowns. Geno got a little scoot in his boot. Bryce Young got a little scoot in his boot. Went for like a 40-yard rush last year. So I think this is good. You're buying in on Dak, as you said, underpriced, which I believe. Geno being an underpriced starter with upside connected and correlated. Anytime you can correlate all your quarterbacks stack-wise, I think it's a good option. But like you bought in on underpriced offenses with potentially underloved quarterbacks. I think it's fine.
This is a good advance rate combo too, right? Just based on price.
And it's a fun playoff combo because like a lot of playoff squads, people are like, I want fun quarterbacks, and you differentiate yourself by just targeting, like saying, I don't know who's going to go off one week, but I'm going to build these maybe gross but potentially exciting QB rooms. Cool.
And he goes hyper fragile with it too. So this means either
smart.
Shit ton of receivers because he goes Barkley and ETN relatively early.
A little after
Chase Brown. Yeah. I like the hyper fragile with a +1 that goes outside of like pick 100 too. I think that's, if you're going to utilize it, could be smart. Maybe he catches up at receiver in between here. So Lamb, Neighbors, O'Dunes, Deontay Johnson, Tyler Lockett. So he's not hamstrung. He's not completely handicapped at receiver position. Goes Myers, Devontae, and Tolbert.
Yeah, lots of fun rookies, which is the way to catch up. It's not by chasing dusty veterans. It's by if you hit with one of these guys is awesome, let alone 2. It doesn't matter what the rest of this roster looks like at receiver because you've way outperformed ADP and everything else is gravy.
Got the Geno stack with Lockett with the bring back Roma Dunes in week 17.
Nice.
Lamb stack with Tolbert, so a little double there. He's got Fant as well and Komet, so he's got a double in that game. Real nice.
Fun game stack.
Really nice. And Deontay Johnson.
Don't love Tolbert, but I understand taking the stack. Just won't be surprised if it's a guy. He got a lot of coach speak early on, but now he's being pushed for the wide receiver 3 role. So like I think the wide receiver 3 role stacked up is valuable. I won't be surprised if he's not the guy come week 1 or week 5. But as of now,
it is in Dallas.
I mean, it sounds like it could be Jalen Brooks. So
wasn't he inactive last year? He was inactive a lot, like healthy scratch. So I do
like,
have
again,
a little. Yeah, you don't have to click Tolbert right now. Like he's not going to rise a whole lot. Yeah.
Tolbert's going to rise to maybe the 15th round. So that's fine, totally fine. I just don't know how valuable it is.
Right. Yeah, once you get
you got Lamb, you got the premium stack, QB1 to wide receiver 1. I don't feel the need to go chase a second pass catcher personally. Over like because I think just clicking a rookie in the last round is a winning strategy over a long-term period.
Bingo. Oh, definitely. Stroud at 78 for Nick. You absolute.
Yeah, let's look at a team that we're gonna drool over real quick.
Stroud, Caleb. I love the pairing. Zamir, Singletary forward. So he goes 0 RB strategy. Zamir, Singletary forward. McLaughlin, Gibbs. Damn, I like
JK
this team.
Dustbins, dead team, dead team.
Dead. Team's dead. Wasted pick 200. Like clearly.
You know what a zero running back team needs? A zero at running back. Well
Nice.
done. Nailed it.
Nice. Amon-Ra, Nico, DJ Moore. So he's got this double stack, low week 16 to get him into the big game against Amon-Ra and the Detroit Lions. Rashee Rice is wide receiver 5, I think is a very underrated strategy right now.
Yeah. He's likely to rise if the suspension doesn't come or if it's less than 4 games.
Roman Wilson, Marvin Mims, Greg Dortch. I don't know what Dortch does for this team. An uncorrelated Dortch.
I mean, I view it as just like you're chasing a potential upside his upside is wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3 on a high-paced, efficient offense and a lever off of Marvin Harrison, a lever off of Connor. I don't mind it. I understand the consternation with it, but if in the universe where the Bears are volatile, Rashee Rice does get suspended for a few games. Marvin Mims is volatile.
Yeah,
well,
Roman
then
Wilson, maybe
chase
not a roll right away.
chase another high scoring offense at a free price. Because if
I'm good with
he
it.
he hits your lineup with 13 or more points as a last round pick, it's nice. Also, Short King Summer feud.
And the pairing of Laporta and Schultz is really nice. Laporta at 43, probably better.
The
at his
ADP value
price.
on this team is insane. The CLV value is TBD, but this is a nice damn team.
I think he gets CLV value even on Rice.
Hats off to you, brother. Hats off to you. That's a damn nice team.
Nick in the 6th spot, just being gifted.
Big dick
after
Nick with
Nick,
a nice
were you
ass
I
team.
think Nick fell asleep and just autoed this team. So
as one does.
Frank in the 7th spot also had a great draft. Daniels and Trevor Lawrence, just good advanced pieces too in this range. Those guys, in my opinion. Daniels, do you think he rises? And if so, like what to?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, at worst, he settles in the 85 to 90 range where like AR ended up. Like it's gonna be very apparent that like, oh, this guy's taking off. This guy, like preseason, the first 40-yard run and the first deep touchdown, this dude's screaming up like 2 rounds easily.
Yeah. The late round panic of, oh, what percent do I have? And I got to catch up and all that. But the running back room is pretty fun. I don't know about pairing Algier with Bijan.
Yeah,
Algier to hit, in my opinion, needs a Bijan injury.
Yeah, like you're having to tell yourself the Justin Herzig thing of like, I've handcuffed Bijan so that I get either one to the finals or, whatever. I understand like Giga 5D chess level move. In the aggregate, I'm chasing another backfield chaos piece because in this universe, the only way this pays off is that Bijan misses a single week. Algier smashes that week and Bijan returns because otherwise you took Bijan 7.
That is
the first round pick.
Crazy. That is crazy bet. Maybe, and I've done it before where I've clicked Algier because I love the click and then I look back at the team.
Oh, I've done it because I forgot I
this
took
is a
Bijan.
Bijan squad. Like,
yeah,
guilty. 100% guilty.
Yeah, I've done it. But if you can't, you don't have to. Just don't do it.
It's tough. It's tough with those.
Especially because, like, with this room, you just because there's a potential that like you're running with 5 or less running backs. If you miss 3 guys, you're down pretty thin. So like that's why I don't love handcucking a like top 3 round guy because to like over the course of the full season and in the playoffs, injuries happen, and I like shots at multiple backfields that aren't eating each other away. Given cost,
even Achane, like Achane Mostert. Oh wow, it hit last year, but the price is different. The price is much different from last year to this year. So
Achane right is fine. Achane Mostert probably not the right bet.
Okay. You have 2 triple stacks in here with Jane Daniels and T-Law. Like a little week 16 bring back with Devontae Adams against the Jags with Brian Thomas Jr., Gabe Davis, and Ingram. Like it was a nice squad. The running backs, I think, fell off a little bit. He has the week 17 bring back with Mooney against Washington. Another, is it double or triple? Triple stack in Washington as well. Might be a little much, but
I don't mind it because in the world he hits, like CJ Stroud hits last year. If you had him triple stacked, you were printing money. like
Yeah, you're
without the
advancing.
injury
You're in
stuff.
first.
Yeah. So like if especially at the cost, like Terry's the most expensive piece you're chasing in Washington, and now you have access to all the pieces. Oh, for season long and weekly, it's nice.
For
I
me
don't
personally,
mind
when
it.
I'm triple stacking a rushing QB, I would like it to be at least like 2 receivers and a tight end. 3 receivers,
I
I think
agree.
it's
I
maybe
agree.
you have you have at least one dead roster spot guaranteed week 17.
Yeah.
Um,
I think the only thing that
but
mitigates
that's
it is the fact that Jahan and McCaffrey are so much cheaper. And personally, I'm deciding which one I like better. But again,
mhm.
volatility wise, if he's awesome right out the gate all year round, all three guys are eating randomly. So I get it. But yeah,
I'm
I'd
good with
probably
this.
chase
It's a
tight
nice
end.
draft. Besides the RBs, I think a slight hiccup there with the Algier.
A little worried about your running back, buddy. A little worried.
Yeah, just a little bit. Kyler Murray and Herbert is a nice
Fun.
pairing.
Very fun.
Herbert, God damn, I need to get even 7%. Feel I need to get this. Uh, is he just a crazy value? Are they not going to throw the ball this year? Like which one? Which one is it?
I think you can be worried about how efficient they're going to be for sure with a full new squad, some new pieces. Greg Roman famously leads efficient offenses, at least for like running the ball, but like wide receivers, like famously a little vanilla at receiver. Justin can be a little gun shy with being like aggressive, tight window stuff. So like you worry about how those two overlap.
Hmm.
I think, I mean, I if he hits, he hits. I won't be surprised if he small win player either because like I don't think he's going to rush that much. So you need him to like smash in you know, touchdown efficiency, and they could be efficient throwing the ball and then just run the shit out of it with Gus, Vidal, JK Dustbins,
Hmm.
whatever. And then he just doesn't get there on touchdowns. So as a non-rushing quarterback, like it's fine.
Yeah.
I
At
just don't love that like
137,
his
it's just like he goes in that tier like right before the no Achilles tier. It
yeah,
feels good to
yeah.
get a guy that has shown very good production
You're right.
as a pass thrower, and then it's like before this range that has immense risk of like
Yeah,
re-injury or just like
yeah.
age cliff or both. Um, he's just like he seems like there's a teardrop like right after it goes off the board.
For sure. For sure. I don't I'm gonna be that guy and be like his week 16 and 17 matchups are two defenses that probably do really good shutting down their opponents and
Hmm.
probably end up being like run slog fest, at least in the defensive shit games. And
Hmm.
the Chargers are a weird team. So like you hope they like pound through it, but we've seen Harbaugh decide in bad weather games, I am going to just manhandle you via the run and control the clock, play defense. And will that surprise anybody? If he has like a solid season, but then week 17 is not great, I won't.
Right.
I really won't. But that's prognosticating too much. At ADP, I like him just fine. I would want him with Ladd and Palmer, and then
All
go with
right.
God because I'm not drafting a tight end on that team right now.
So a second hyper fragile build in this
Nice.
pod. And he again, you're making the bet on that fourth running back. This
I
is
like
even
it.
later than the last one, which is fun. Pickens, Godwin, McConkey, Curtis Samuel, Palmer, double stack,
Love it.
triple stack with Vidal. Shakir, Mike Williams, Michael Wilson, Adam Thielen.
Man, name a more disgusting back five, back
Nah,
four.
I don't think you
I
can.
don't like Shakir. Mike Williams coming off. I mean, I know he got
So,
ADP value, but I think he could be slow rolled the first 4 weeks, just like Brees was, especially because
mm-hmm,
he's a 30-year-old, not a
mm-hmm,
21-year-old elite athlete. Michael Wilson seemingly in a battle for snaps and routes with Zay Jones and Adam Thielen. Like fine. I think like the ADP's fine.
gotcha,
Uh,
mister.
but I would have probably liked it's fine. I,
Mm-hmm.
I think I think if I see Adam Thielen and Michael Wilson, I'm hoping there's more rookies on this team
Yeah, I
than there
agree. I
are.
agree. And you could
Yeah,
swap these ADPs. It's not like he got crazy ADP value. It's like he got
yeah.
Adam Thielen at 161, and it's like he got Michael Wilson at ADP at
ADP value
176.
after round 14 doesn't matter unless it's 40 plus picks.
Yeah.
And yeah,
And
but
then
it's
three
fine.
guys at tight end. And
3
Artie
guys.
said,
That's about all you
Artie,
could say.
Artie let us know, like, I never draft like this. If I'm going to be weak at one position, just make it
It's tight
one
end.
position. Be
Right.
strong everywhere else.
Well, also, if you're gonna be a weak at one position, make it the lowest scoring worst position.
Yeah,
That said, look at me, buddy. That doesn't mean you have to take the worst picks at tight end. The worst, like you didn't have to make it weak by taking some of the worst tight end picks you could pick. I'm sorry, brother. Mike gets sucky and Dawson Nux Fest that's rough. I understand you correlated it, but Jesus Christ, that's rough.
No, yeah, no. Yikes.
Oof.
It's all right. It's all right, Artie. I've seen Artie draft and he's had better days. He might
I
be
haven't
due
seen
for
a
this
tight
one.
end shit pile that bad all season, and I've drafted 500 teams. So shouts out.
Those are some guys for sure.
I just saw God in that tight end room.
4-digit IQ, believe it's a pounder. Not 100% sure. We'll actually come back to it. Let us know if you're
Hilarious
in the stream.
username. Hilarious username.
Meek at 24, Mr. Master 636 in the live stream. Goff, Cousins, and Fields.
Nice.
I was just
little
forced
juice to some
draft
statues.
Fields the other night. Gibbs, Kamara, Aaron Jones, Benson, and Gus Edwards.
What a weird running back room.
I'm at least good with the balance.
The numbers are fine, and the mix and match is fine. Yeah, it's not my favorite, but considering the value,
it's interesting. I've not seen this is like different, but
but
it shouldn't be.
Can we act like it's a late Picasso piece and just kind of stare at it and go, What are you trying to tell us? What's going on here? It's
but it's got this weird balance of like floor and ceiling at the same point, and Gus
famously said in June until you hit fucking October and you're like, oh my god, it's all floor.
Yeah, right, 100%. No, I'm cool with the capital spend here. Yeah, Ayuk, Flowers, T. Higgs, Worthy, Dobbs, Douglas, Troy Franklin, Khalif Raymond, stack with Goff. I would like to see. He's got Gibbs too, with the Week 17 bring back in Ayuk. Kirk stack with Pitts. Week 17 bring back with Sinnott.
Yeah, I see what he means. The board kind of chopped him up a little nasty. But this is why reaching on the turn can help, so you don't get too boxed out, because you want ADP value is nice, roster combos are nice, but you also want like well-built teams at the end of the day. And also, come on, Dawson Knox was disrespected when they drafted a guy who did not athletically test due to a bad back in the first round.
And yeah, guaranteed to get hurt. Yeah, Meek. He said he had a tough draft, and if you're gonna have one, it's probably gonna be on.
A splatter painting may just be the piece in your portfolio you need.
Reviewing some of the other teams, I'm
you feel better about it, don't you? Now
I feel better about it for being sniped on our double stack with Gino, which you can't do anything about.
I mean, swapping Gino for Carr is pretty 1-to-1. All things considered.
But the bet we were making on Gino,
for sure,
just makes it it hurt.
It's the second time I've been brutally sniped right in front of my fucking face today. So we're doing great.
You brought the negative juju over here.
Oh, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
That's what it was.
We could have had Evans in a Baker stack. You didn't want it.
You didn't want it. You couldn't handle it.
You could have had
Guys, appreciate everyone coming out tonight, dropping the like. Join us in the comments, having a brewski if you were in the background. Shout out to Tyler, Emo Cowboy on the Twitter machine. Also does work on the YouTube with Fantasy Sanctuary. Link is in the description. Check him out. Just great stuff. The cowboy hat came out tonight for you boys. I appreciated it. The thing's clean. Have you been to any concerts with that thing on, or is it just stream ready?
No. Dude, what you can't see is like there's rust. This baby has seen better days. Okay. That's why I bought a new one for the exclusive emo cowboy streams. There's a black special one for special occasions.
I love that. Steph, also That's glad to see the hat in action. Yeah. If you guys enjoyed the content, go down, hit the subscribe button. We could do a 24-hour live stream at 2K subs. If you want the overlay, bestballoverlay.com. That shows the playoff weeks Promo code Pounders, all caps, for 33% off.
Pound.
And that's it. Guys, I hope you have a good night. Happy Saturday. Pounders.